So the story kicks off with some high-quality screaming echoing through these floating mountains. Our boy Cao Yuan explains he is just a student who got ice-guyed and is now running for his life, and his grand origin story. He was transported here an hour ago as a literal piece of grass. Turns out he is not just any grass, he is some legendary immortal soul grass everyone wants to catch. His brilliant escape plan involves hiding in a bush, hoping for the best, peak strategy right there. While hiding, he is desperately trying to figure out how to get back to his own world. Beyond survival, he is having a full-blown identity crisis over being a sentient root vegetable. Just as he is pondering his social life, he peeks through the leaves and spots someone by the water. Getting a closer look, he notices something unusual about her. Yep, those are definitely wolf ears. A wolf girl and her friend are just chilling and splashing around in the lake, completely unaware. Our boy is absolutely losing his mind, questioning why a high-level wolf girl is in a starter zone. But his internal monologue was apparently too loud because she instantly senses him and calls him out. She is shocked that someone managed to get through her defensive barrier, which is a pretty bad sign. Her attention lands on a particularly fragrant glowing patch of grass, and Cao Yuan starts panicking hard. In his panic, he does something to the ground right in her path, making it super slippery. Predictably, she steps right on it and loses her balance, completely caught off guard, and she goes down, flailing right towards the source of all her problems, our little grass boy. In a classic, totally not-on-purpose anime moment, she lands right on top of him for a kiss. This moment their lips touch, there is a massive explosion of green, sparkly energy. And when the light fades, the wolf girl's ears are completely gone, leaving her human. This wolf girl is just as shocked as he is, realizing her ears have vanished, and now she is having a full-blown meltdown over accidentally kissing a total stranger. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan's brain has completely short-circuited, only managing to think she is pretty cute. That moment of peace ends abruptly as she shoves him away, screaming about perverts. Then she grabs his hand with a death grip, making him yelp in pain. His totally not subtle screaming echoes through the entire forest, a great way to stay hidden. Of course, the guys hunting him immediately hear the noise and start heading right for them. Our boy realizes his brilliant plan of not getting caught has officially gone up in smoke. Deciding his only option is to bolt, he makes a break for it. But a terrifying shadow looms over him, because he has forgotten who the real threat is. And there she is, blocking his path with a look that says you are not going anywhere. So now he is running from everyone with the wolf girl and her friend screaming at him to stop. She is absolutely furious, still convinced he is just some random creep who ambushed her. Cao Yuan is desperately trying to explain he is not a pervert, he is just lost and confused. Unfortunately, his escape route is leading him straight towards the edge of a massive cliff. He barely manages to stop himself, his foot slipping right at the very edge, leaving him teetering precariously over a huge drop with nowhere left to run. Cornered, his gamer brain kicks in, wondering if fall damage is even a thing here. Right on cue, the wolf girl pops up behind him, helpfully suggesting he test that theory. And from his terrified expression, I do not think he is taking her up on that offer. Cornered and out of options, Cao Yuan immediately resorts to the ultimate strategy, groveling for his life. Her ears are suddenly back and she is absolutely furious, vowing to teach him a lesson for the accidental kiss. But beneath the rage, she is blushing hard, admitting that was actually her very first kiss. Our boy, ever the gentleman, just cups his ear and pretends he did not hear that little confession. As she is about to go nuclear, her friend finally shows up, trying to ask a question. And for once, they are in perfect agreement, both screaming at her to get lost because they are busy. This friend has a moment of sheer panic, realizing she just interrupted the legendary Lord Silver Wolf. At that moment, the hunters arrive, with their leader announcing they are from Fooling Mountain on a treasure hunt. Lord Silver Wolf immediately puffs out her chest, demanding to know why they are searching on her clan's territory. Even Cao Yuan is completely stunned by her sudden, incredibly domineering aura. This old guy explains his treasure is here, but she basically says finders keepers, it is hers now. He is clearly getting frustrated, realizing this wolf girl is going to be a massive pain to deal with. Then he catches the scent of the immortal soul grass on Cao Yuan, connecting the dots instantly. Deciding to play it cool for now, the leader tells his disciples to back off while she is distracted. With them gone, she turns back to Cao Yuan, promising to remember his smell and bite him to death if he returns. Our boy, completely misreading the room, gives a cheeky salute and says he is looking forward to it. He tries to make a clean getaway, but her shout of "wait" stops him dead in his tracks. Realizing he is not getting out of this, his eyes glow as he decides there is only one trick left to try. In a truly baffling pivot, he slicks his hair back and tries to flirt his way out of the situation. This predictably backfires as she powers up, screaming he is a pervert who is about to become dinner. With that settled, Lord Silverwolf coldly orders her guards to drag Cao Yuan back to their tribe. Now being escorted by two very serious wolfmen, he desperately asks why a princess is bothering with him. One of the guards is completely over it, screaming at him to just shut up and walk already. This scene cuts to a lone figure in a dark forest, surrounded by glowing red eyes and absolutely sure they are dinner. And yep, that is Cao Yuan's internal panic, realizing he's been captured right after turning back into a plant. Elsewhere, the old hunter leader is so enraged he smashes a bowl on the floor. He is fuming that the Silver Wolf clan snatched the one person who could lead them to the immortal grass. His subordinate tries to be the voice of reason, suggesting Cao Yuan might still choose to help them. But the leader fears that if the wolves get the grass, they will become too powerful for humans to handle. His eyes narrow with grim determination, believing they still have a chance to resist her. Back in the wolf den, Cao Yuan has indeed reverted to his tiny, helpless grass form again. Spotting Lord Silver Wolf bathing below, he decides now is the perfect time to make a run for it. She is just chilling in the hot spring, totally unaware a sentient root vegetable is spying on her. While relaxing, she ponders the guy who broke her barrier, thinking he had a weird grassy smell. Her final verdict is simple and brutal: he is nothing special, so they should probably just eat him. But just as she is mentally preparing the menu, a thought suddenly stops her cold. She finally connects the dots, remembering he was literally a piece of grass when she first found him. Our boy, peeking over the roof, realizes she is talking about him and decides to eavesdrop. He cannot quite hear her, but he recalls the most important fact: he turned human after their kiss. This gives him a brilliant 5-star idea: if she kisses him again, will he turn back? Her relaxing bath is instantly ruined as she senses a presence, whipping up some water to attack. With her ears perked, she furiously demands the rooftop creepers show themselves immediately. And our boy, in his adorable plant form, gets unceremoniously yeeted off the roof by her water whip. She is completely baffled as this screaming leafy potato comes flying right at her face. Cao Yuan's brilliant plan hits a snag as he remembers a crucial detail: he cannot swim. He crashes right into her, sending them both tumbling back into the hot spring with a huge splash. Somehow human again, he is just enjoying the soft landing, completely lost in the moment. Her eyes snap open as she recognizes him while he desperately tries to deny he was spying. While she is screaming about him being a creep, he realizes just touching her turns him human, which tanks his escape plan. Lord Silver Wolf is just 1 second away from a migraine, convinced he is completely insane. Just then her guard shows up, drawn by all the commotion and asking if everything's alright. Trying to play it cool, she tells her to leave while sneakily grabbing Cao Yuan to hide him. But the guard is not totally convinced, insisting that she definitely heard something weird. So Lord Silver Wolf's genius hiding spot is just holding his head underwater while lying through her teeth. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan is getting a first-hand lesson in waterboarding, silently begging for his life. Getting real tired of this, she pulls rank and asks her guard if she is deaf or just ignoring a direct order. That does the trick, as the terrified guard immediately bows and makes a hasty exit. Once she is gone, Lord Silver Wolf tells him the coast is clear and he can come out now, only to find him floating face down in the water, making her wonder if she overdid it a little. She leans in close, telling him to quit faking it, because there is no way she actually drowned him, right? Her first aid technique is just slapping him repeatedly, screaming that playing dead is completely useless. And Cao Yuan's brain promptly shuts down, his eyes replaced with cartoonish swirls of confusion. Looking down at his limp body, she immediately realizes she might have overdone the whole drowning thing. Since she cannot let her only clue die, she leans in close to give him some mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Just as his soul, which for some reason looks like a pair of horned underwear, begins its ascent. With a few violent coughs, Cao Yuan sputters back to life, expelling half the hot spring from his lungs. He is just bewildered to be alive, while she seems equally surprised her murder attempt was a total failure. Our boy starts celebrating his survival with way too much enthusiasm, completely ignoring the woman who just tried to kill him. This victory lap ends abruptly as she puts him in a chokehold, offering to send him to hell for real this time. But their quality time is interrupted by a guard summoning Prince to see the tribe leader. Wait, Prince. Lord Silver Wolf gets a devious look in her eye, announcing that their timing is absolutely perfect. While dragging Cao Yuan along, she wonders if the old hunter leader figured out his true identity. Inside, a meeting is underway, with a delegate from the Wild Dog tribe demanding to discuss a marriage pact. Then a fearsome Jackal tribe leader snarls, reminding the elder he'd better not back out of his promise. Not to be outdone, a representative from the Wild Fox tribe chimes in, hoping the elders will accept his proposal. This poor elder looks like he's about to have an aneurysm, realizing this is going to be a nightmare. Turns out he got hammered and promised his daughter's hand to 3 different tribes, a diplomatic masterclass. As the 3 suitors are about to start a brawl, Lord Silver Wolf casually strolls in with Cao Yuan. Her ears twitch as she overhears the words arranged marriage, and her face goes completely deadpan. Her father spots her and is instantly relieved, calling her little Yue and preparing his best excuse. And she immediately gets in her dad's face, demanding he explain this whole arranged marriage nonsense now. Her dad, a master of diplomacy, explains he cannot break his word because the tribe's honor is at stake. She is absolutely not interested in marrying any of these ugly things and starts brainstorming an escape plan. Her gaze then falls on Cao Yuan, just vibing by a pillar, and a truly devious plan starts to form. Putting on her best damsel act, she announces to the suitors that her heart is, tragically, already taken. She spins this completely believable story about a dragon attack and the hero she is now honor-bound to marry. Her potential fiancés are, quite reasonably, calling absolute shenanigans on this whole giant dragon excuse. With a grand flourish, she presents her hero, a totally clueless Cao Yuan who has no idea what is happening. Our boy's brain finally catches up and he starts panicking about what fresh hell this is. She gives him a look that could curdle milk, whispering that he will play along or she will end him. Her father, looking skeptical, asks Cao Yuan directly if this dragon-slaying story is actually true. Forced to play along, Cao Yuan sweats profusely while bragging he took down the dragon in like 2 or 3 hits. This fox suitor immediately calls foul, insisting a mere human could never defeat a dragon. Seeing his promises and her new rule clash, the elder announces he has a brilliant solution. His genius idea is a marriage competition. The strongest suitor wins her hand, pitting them all against each other. And Cao Yuan instantly realizes he's been entered into a death tournament against 3 actual beastmen. This other 2 suitors are immediately on board with this plan because of course they are. Looking way too pleased with himself, the elder declares the competition is on since nobody's objecting. But just as it is settled, some ridiculously sparkly guy in gold dramatically shouts his objection. This new guy is so sparkly he is literally blinding, and Cao Yuan gets a system pop-up about meeting the regional protagonist. This sparkly new guy, Flame Wolf, immediately steps up to the other 3 suitors with an aura of pure protagonist energy. Cao Yuan is just trying to figure out who this guy is, while Flame Wolf poses like he is the main character of everything. This fox suitor, never one to miss a chance to be a jerk, calls the newcomer Flame Wolf garbage. But Flame Wolf just smirks and powers up, saying he is not the same weakling from 3 years ago. He then unleashes a furious attack, shouting that the fox is about to learn a very painful lesson. A massive beam of energy absolutely tears across the room, heading straight for the loudmouth, and it connects with a huge explosion, sending the fox suitor screaming as he is blown away. Even the jackal suitor is completely stunned, realizing this guy has already reached the 5th-tier monster realm. Flame Wolf then turns to the elder, casually calling him uncle as if he did not just wreck the place. This elder, however, is not impressed, demanding to know why he is here and attacking his guests. This guy's got a serious grudge, reminding the elder he is the one who broke off their marriage arrangement. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan's system helpfully explains this dude's entire revenge plot backstory and assigns him a quest to steal his luck. Our boy is completely baffled by this new seizing luck mission, but he taps to see what it is. He confirms the quest chain, probably without reading the terms and conditions, a classic move. And the quest is to stop Flame Wolf's marriage, with the penalty for failure being literal death, so that is fun. Flame Wolf continues his dramatic monologue about true love, totally oblivious to Cao Yuan's existential crisis next to him. He clenches his fist, swearing his love for a woman named Yin Yao is what gave him his strength. His eyes narrow with grim determination because he is here with only one goal in mind. That goal, of course, is to point dramatically at Yin Yao and declare he is taking her with him. She just gives him a withering look, telling him not to use her nickname because they are absolutely not that close. Flame Wolf tries to play the understanding hero, telling Yin Yao they can just leave this whole mess behind. But Cao Yuan suddenly grabs his arm, pointing out that she is obviously not interested in his rescue mission. Flame Wolf absolutely loses it, calling him useless junk before unleashing his greedy wolf claws attack. As the claws come flying, his system pops up with a timely offer to use a special quest skill. With absolutely no other options, he screams use, and unleashes a massive burst of light. His hands make contact, channeling the new power directly into the sparkly protagonist's chest. It is a dragon claws technique, and it sends Flame Wolf stumbling back as his luck gets literally yoinked. Even Flame Wolf is stunned, admitting the attack was way too fast for him to even track. And our boy immediately gets cocky, smirking about how skilled he is now, a classic mistake. A mistake he pays for instantly with a brutal slap that shuts him right up. Turns out the fancy move had 0 actual force, and he goes flying across the room like a ragdoll. His body skids to a halt on the floor, his moment of glory lasting a grand total of 2 seconds. All he can think is how ruthless this guy is, which, yeah, he just tried to claw you, my dude. Flame Wolf looms over him, completely baffled that this nobody dared to interrupt his main character moment. This elder finally intervenes, telling Flame Wolf to knock it off and join the tournament like a civilized suitor. With a dramatic look at Yin Yao, he agrees to compete because his love is just that pure, you guys. But Cao Yuan, face still bright red from the slap, suddenly yells for everyone to hold on. He is not done, declaring that their one-sided beatdown is not actually over yet. Flame Wolf just stares, completely unable to process the sheer audacity of this kid getting back up. Our boy gets into a fighting pose, telling him not to underestimate a top gamer. Oh, this is gonna hurt. With a quick sidestep, Cao Yuan dodges a furious punch from the sparkly protagonist. Even Yin Yao is stunned, wondering how in the world he actually dodged that. Flame Wolf does not let up, lunging forward with another brutal attack aimed right at his head. Watching from the sidelines, Yin Yao starts to suspect this kid might actually have some real skill. A system pop-up confirms he survived the greedy wolf claws and successfully copied the skill data. He gets a smug look on his face as he processes the new info from the system. His new quest is to defeat Flame Wolf and complete his show-off routine, which is currently at 0 progress. As Cao Yuan strikes a very familiar stance, Flame Wolf realizes something is seriously wrong. Our boy then unleashes the exact same greedy wolf claws attack right back at its owner. Flame Wolf's eyes go wide with pure, unadulterated shock. Even the other beastmen suitors are completely floored, unable to believe what they are seeing. Cao Yuan strikes a pose, calling his opponent weak and pathetic, just soaking in the glory. Completely losing it, Flame Wolf demands to know how a nobody could possibly know his signature move. Our boy goes full protagonist mode, declaring he is the real main character as his bragging quest hits 50% completion. But the system warns him there is still one more step, and he needs to hurry up to avoid being killed. He is comically furious, wondering what else he could possibly need to do to finish the quest. And in a puff of green smoke, he suddenly transforms back into his tiny, helpless plant form. His internal monologue is just pure panic, screaming about turning into grass at the worst possible moment. A system notification then gives him a 30-second countdown to complete the mission or face literal death. Everyone just stares at the tiny, quivering plant on the floor as a death timer ticks down beside it. Yin Yao watches the other suitors, realizing her brilliant plan has left her in a serious bind. From the floor, a tiny plant Cao Yuan desperately begs her to think of something, anything, right now. He gets furious as she tries to whistle and look away, pretending she cannot hear the screaming vegetable. With the death timer ticking down, our boy starts to seriously panic about his impending doom. Meanwhile, Flame Wolf and the Jackal suitor are posturing, ready to start the tournament without him. Deciding he has no other choice, Cao Yuan screams and prepares for a last-ditch all-or-nothing gamble. His big idea is that if he can just touch Yin Yao, he might be able to transform back into a human, so he launches himself through the air like a tiny, screaming, leafy projectile aimed right at her. This little guy makes a perfect landing right on her chest with an audible boing, mission accomplished. She is, understandably, completely mortified and demands to know what he is doing. In a flash of green light, the transformation kicks in, swirling around them both in a dramatic vortex. He is suddenly human again, pinning her to a pillar and dropping the cheesiest romance novel line ever. Leaning in close, he declares she is his woman now and all other suitors can basically go die. This system confirms his boasting quest is complete, and he is officially no longer about to be unalived. But the fox suitor, apparently not blown up enough, suddenly objects to the whole competition. Cao Yuan just gives him a look of pure annoyance for daring to interrupt his victory. This fox guy sarcastically lists off Cao Yuan's supposed feats, clearly not buying any of it. He then points, calling our boy a grass fairy who is probably just using tricks to cheat. At that moment, Yin Yao steps in, grabbing the fox's face and asking if he is calling her a liar. With a terrifyingly sharp-toothed grin, she dares him to say it again, and he looks like he is about to wet himself. With a truly unhinged smile, she asks the fox if he understands the consequences of his accusation. Her father, ever the diplomat, strokes his chin and agrees that she does have a good point. Yin Yao is immediately confused, demanding to know what her dad is even talking about. This elder then turns to Cao Yuan, telling him to prove his story by bringing back a dragon's corpse, a totally reasonable request. Our boy is completely floored, pointing at himself like, "Are you seriously talking to me?" With a smug look, the elder says it should be easy for a dragon slayer, as Cao Yuan internally panics. Having had enough, Cao Yuan just turns to walk out, saying he is absolutely not dying for this. He yells back that they cannot force him to stay, throwing a full-on tantrum. But of course the system pops up with a new quest, get the tribe's approval to become the official son-in-law, and the system clarifies the only way to win is to kill a dragon, with failure resulting in death. To make it worse, a 3,000-second death timer suddenly starts ticking down, much to his horror. His defiance vanishes instantly as he drops to his knees, begging his respectable father-in-law for help. With crocodile tears, he begs the wise elder to tell him where to find a dragon because his time is running out. This elder just strokes his mustache, completely misinterpreting this as eagerness to marry his daughter. He even pushes a very unimpressed Yin Yao forward, declaring they will be so happy together. Her father then reveals there is a convenient ice dragon living up in the snowy northern lands. That smug fox suitor chimes in, saying he thinks Cao Yuan should definitely go check it out. Still on the floor, Cao Yuan asks how far away this north place actually is. This fox waves him off, saying it is not far at all if he just starts walking. What a helpful guy. As he gets up, Cao Yuan eyes the fox suspiciously, wondering if this little punk is just bluffing. Our boy has a minor logistical problem. He has no idea which way north even is. That smug fox helpfully points out the trip would take a year and a half, plenty of time for him to marry Yin Yao. Meanwhile, the jackal suitor tells the elder to just forget the grass fairy and get on with the tournament. So Cao Yuan just starts walking, trying to figure out this whole north concept on the fly. Suddenly he stops, hearing something totally unexpected. He lands flat on his back as something crashes down from the sky, leaving a crater and a weird egg. Our boy is just staring at this thing, wondering what kind of bird drops its kids from orbit. Standing in the fresh crater, he is still trying to process the whole egg from the heavens situation. Back at the palace, Yin Yao is furious, calling them out for sending him on a death quest just to get rid of him. This jackal suitor kneels, trying to sweet-talk her about how a grass fairy could never make her happy. He promises to risk his life for her, declaring himself the only logical choice. What a gentleman. Her father just stands there, looking completely over this whole soap opera. But then a terrifying pressure fills the room, and the elder recognizes a dragon's aura. A massive shockwave sends both him and Yin Yao flying across the hall, because the ice dragon from the north decided to save everyone the trip and show up right here. This elder immediately starts panicking, realizing his entire tribe is about to be wiped off the map. Yin Yao screams for everyone to run for their lives as the other suitors are already halfway out the door. This dragon looks deeply offended that these ants are running away before it even gets to make a dramatic entrance, so it unleashes a massive ice breath attack, flash freezing the suitors mid-sprint. Her father can only watch in horror, convinced this is the end of the Silver Wolf tribe. But from off-screen, a greedy wolf claw attack slams right into the dragon's face. This elder is completely stunned, trying to figure out who just intervened in their apocalypse. And it is Cao Yuan making a grand re-entrance to greet his dear father-in-law. This dragon is absolutely furious, questioning how a mere human dares to even touch it. It immediately unleashes a massive dragon ice breath to wipe him off the map. Our boy just leaps into the air, vowing to shut the dragon's mouth for good. Suddenly, a golden beam of light lances down from the sky, striking the dragon head-on. Cao Yuan pulls off a flashy backflip, effortlessly dodging the resulting explosion. He lands perfectly, striking a pose like he does this kind of thing every day. This now tiny dragon flies off, vowing revenge, while Cao Yuan just thanks it for the help. Back in the hall, he casually tells the frozen fox suitor not to worry, he will thaw out eventually. Then he grabs Yin Yao's hand, clearly done with this whole dramatic scene, and starts leading her away, telling her to just follow him out of the chaos. She yanks her hand back, demanding the dirty rogue give her an honest explanation for once. Yin Yao gets right in his face, wanting to know how in the world he actually defeated that dragon. Our boy just gives her a bashful smile, playing the mysterious hero card to perfection. Turns out the dragon was just a panicked mother screaming for her lost child. And Cao Yuan, holding the very egg that fell from the sky, had a brilliant, non-violent idea. This mother dragon finds him, ecstatic to see her baby is safe as his death timer keeps ticking down. She asks if he is the one who found her child, and he just holds up the egg like a peace offering. While holding the egg, Cao Yuan notices it has got a pretty nasty crack in it, but then his hands start glowing and the crack just magically seals itself up. He is completely stunned, having no idea he even possessed a healing skill. This massive ice dragon formally thanks him for saving her child, so much for a death match. She gets right up in his face, sniffing him and saying he smells like divine grass. With a grateful look, she offers to grant him any wish to repay her debt. Our boy is absolutely losing his mind, basically asking if she is Shenron from Dragon Ball. He then points dramatically, asking her to help him by performing an act to complete his quest. In a quick flashback, Yin Yao demands to know what is so funny as he explains his genius plan. This elder clears his throat, announcing that since Cao Yuan defeated a dragon, he is officially qualified to compete. All the other suitors immediately nope out, withdrawing from the competition in pure terror. But a new blonde suitor steps up, declaring he still has a say in all this. He claims they had a childhood promise, which Yin Yao immediately shuts down as just playing house. This guy grabs her arm, getting all dramatic about not losing her again, and she is not having it. As Cao Yuan scoffs at the guy's hypocrisy, the system renews his quest, defeat Flame Wolf and win. And just to be extra helpful, the system clarifies that admitting defeat would result in death. Trapped, Cao Yuan challenges the blonde suitor, who agrees to fight anyone for Yin Yao's hand. Her father gets way too excited, declaring the first round will begin immediately. Without wasting a second, the two of them launch themselves at each other in a flash of golden energy. And somehow they are both charging up the exact same move, the greedy wolf claw. Their identical attacks collide in a massive, flashy explosion of golden light. As Cao Yuan lands, the system helpfully informs him he is now completely immune to that move. Talk about a cheat code. Flame Wolf skids to a stop, absolutely fuming at this brat who just tanked his signature attack. His mind is just blown, trying to process how our boy is completely unscathed. So he tries the machine gun version, unleashing a greedy wolf claw barrage from all angles. While Cao Yuan takes a few hits, the system confirms he is adapting with damage reduction and rapid recovery. Our boy just smirks because apparently getting used to it means he can now use the skill too. Suddenly, Flame Wolf is the one getting shredded by the attack, looking completely bewildered. Cao Yuan gives the most insincere apology ever, saying they have to fight until one of them goes down. Now totally enraged, Flame Wolf is looking pretty ragged from the counterattack. Bleeding from the mouth, he is just muttering "dang it" over and over, his pride completely shattered. In a fit of rage, he screams and powers up, unleashing a massive pillar of fire, classic mid-battle transformation. Even the elder is stunned, realizing Flame Wolf is having a full-on breakthrough during the fight. His hair turns fiery red as he emerges shirtless, declaring this whole situation unforgivable. With a flaming eye effect, he promises that Cao Yuan is the one who is about to fall. This system chimes in with a tip to raise his realm, and Cao Yuan is like, "Is this a Super Saiyan joke?" In a blur of motion, Flame Wolf appears right behind him, smugly declaring the fight is already over. Our boy cannot even react, totally stunned by the guy's new blistering speed. Flame Wolf grabs him by the throat, offering to spare his life if he just gives up now. What a generous offer. Choking and powerless, Cao Yuan realizes he cannot counter and desperately needs a new plan before he is toast. Still in a death grip, Cao Yuan exhales a plume of icy energy directly at his opponent. Flame Wolf is totally blindsided, letting out a classic anime nanny of pure disbelief. This ice spreads instantly, freezing Flame Wolf's hand solid as Cao Yuan demands to be let go. Freed from the chokehold, the system confirms he has analyzed 50% of the dragon's ice breath, and with a smug grin, our boy decides that 50% is more than enough to work with. Flame Wolf stares at his frozen arm, realizing the kid is using ice to counter his fire. But Cao Yuan just stands in a ring of fire, boasting that he is already at stage 6. Not to be outdone, Flame Wolf floats up, summoning his divine fire and claiming it is unstoppable. He then unleashes a massive wolves of blazing flame attack to finish this once and for all. Our boy's eye just widens, ready for whatever this guy is about to throw at him. This giant flaming wolf construct comes crashing down with overwhelming force. Watching from the side, Yin Yao looks genuinely worried for the pervert she is supposed to hate. Her father stops her from intervening, coldly reminding her this is a fight to the death. Engulfed in flames, the system warns Cao Yuan that he is about to become extra crispy barbecue. Flame Wolf gloats from a safe distance, telling him to just lie down and accept his fate. But inside the inferno, Cao Yuan just scoffs at him for using such a cliché villain line. Suddenly, ice shards erupt from the fire and Flame Wolf has no clue what is going on. Cao Yuan unleashes his own frost breath, a massive ice tornado that completely counters the flames. Yin Yao is absolutely floored, recognizing that as the ice dragon's signature move. She is left wondering if he really just copied a dragon's ultimate skill after seeing it one time. Still shirtless and glowing, Flame Wolf screams that our boy will not regret this until he is in a coffin. Meanwhile, the system dings that the freezing breath analysis is complete as Cao Yuan calls fate an excuse. Flame Wolf is stunned, realizing the kid used the icy blast to launch himself into the air. But Cao Yuan is already mid-flight, warning his opponent to watch out for what is coming next. And then a solid uppercut connects right on Flame Wolf's jaw, sending him reeling. This punch sends the fiery suitor rocketing straight back down toward the ground. As Cao Yuan lands perfectly, his rival smashes into the pavement behind him with a very satisfying thud. Lying in a brand new crater, Flame Wolf can only look up as our boy stands over him victorious. He then starts lecturing about how a true protagonist acts while the system steals the Fire Wolf skill. This elder finally steps in to call the match, putting a hand on Cao Yuan's shoulder and declaring it over. He immediately announces that Cao Yuan is now Yin Yao's husband, which gets a shocked huh out of her. Suddenly, she is all flustered and agreeable, remembering some other details she'd almost forgotten. But Flame Wolf staggers back to his feet, shouting that he objects. This guy just will not stay down. Cao Yuan is completely over it, asking if this idiot seriously wants to get beat up all over again. From across the courtyard, Flame Wolf proposes a bet, insisting this loss does not mean he will lose forever. Our boy immediately recognizes this as a classic death flag, thinking, do you think I am crazy? Of course, the system immediately dings with a brand new quest, basically forcing him to accept. So he does a complete 180, cheerfully agreeing to the bet like it is the greatest idea ever. Flame Wolf sets the terms: if Cao Yuan loses, he has to leave Yin Yao for good, and Cao Yuan just fires back, asking what happens when he is the one who loses the bet. Still shirtless, Flame Wolf declares that if he loses, he will grant a wish at the Beastmen gathering. Cao Yuan asks about the gathering, and Yin Yao promptly reminds him she is a tribe leader and he is just her +1. Her father-in-law steps in, telling them to forget the details and head to the newlywed room immediately. With a mighty shove, her dad literally throws them into the room, much to their utter shock. They both faceplant as her dad yells through the door to just get it over with quickly, so romantic. Our boy is baffled by the speed of this arrangement, while Yin Yao just fumes about her meddling father. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in Cao Yuan's head as he realizes the implications of his father-in-law's orders. He turns to her with a truly unsettling grin, leaving Yin Yao completely unnerved and suspicious. Our boy lunges forward like a total creep, and she shoves him back as some kind of token shatters between them. She immediately flips the script, grabbing him by the collar and declaring him her husband in public but her slave in private. He immediately folds, screaming for Big Sis to let him go because he can tell something terrible is coming. After letting him go, she tells him to pack for the gathering, then sarcastically asks if he is still interested in the newlywed room. 2 days later, Cao Yuan is stuck carrying a mountain of luggage and desperately asks for a rest. Looking back without a hint of fatigue, Yin Yao just mocks him, saying she is perfectly fine to keep going. She cheerfully walks on, excited for the gathering, and adds that of course asterisk she can keep going, he is carrying all the weight. Yin Yao just stretches, enjoying the perfect weather, totally unaware of any impending danger. That peaceful moment is shattered by a volley of daggers flying right at them from the trees. Instantly, Cao Yuan's demeanor shifts as he shouts a warning for Yin Yao to watch out. In a flash, he pulls her behind him for protection, and she can only look on in complete surprise. But a new white-haired beastman appears, effortlessly deflecting the daggers and mocking the ants who threw them. A new cat girl suddenly warns Cao Yuan to be wary of their white-haired savior. But then our boy realizes he is paralyzed, suspecting the daggers were poisoned after all. He promptly faceplants as Yin Yao asks if the pervert is alright, such touching concern. With their targets down, a whole crew of assassins emerges from the woods to finish the job. Yin Yao is absolutely livid, glaring at the despicable ambushers who ruined her walk. Just then, their white-haired protector also collapses, apparently hit by the poison too. This other cat girl stands her ground, introducing herself as royalty and calling the humans fools. She turns just in time to see another deadly weapon flying right at her. But Cao Yuan is suddenly up, catching the chain and questioning the silent attack. A hooded assassin appears, boasting about his soundless, life-taking weapon. As Yin Yao moves to attack, the assassin smugly tells her she cannot just kill him. He reveals his trump card. Cao Yuan is doomed to have his soul ripped out in 30 minutes anyway. This creep then offers to maybe save him if she surrenders, licking his blade for extra villain points. Torn, she curses the stupid pervert she is now forced to worry about. Of course, Cao Yuan is totally fine, telling her to go nuts as the system confirms the poison is analyzed. This assassin absolutely loses his mind, screaming that there is no cure for his special poison. With her boy safe, Yin Yao cracks her knuckles, relieved and ready to unleash some pain. She leaps into action, landing a brutal kick right in the assassin's face while calling him a thief. Her eyes gleam with a sudden, sharp intensity. She is just getting started. Landing with a massive energy blade in hand, she is ready to slice and dice. A new silver-haired cat girl shows up, already looking for a fight and demanding to know who is there. She immediately confronts someone, asking if they are the one who dared to call her people meager humans. From the shadows, a smug voice calls her words arrogant. We have got a new challenger. Suddenly, she is dodging explosions left and right, her tough act falling apart pretty fast. Looking back in frustration, she realizes she is completely outmatched and cannot keep this up. Then someone yanks her out of the way, leaving her totally stunned by the sudden save. Of course, it is Cao Yuan, telling her to chill out and identify the attacker before rushing in. She immediately gets flustered, accusing him of taking advantage of her while yelling about the coward in the trees. But our boy just notes that whoever is up there definitely is not a weakling. As they stand together, the system dings with a new quest, Light of the Humans, whatever that means. Their attacker finally reveals himself, a guy with a ponytail who is literally looking down on them from a branch. While the cat girl fumes about her tribe's honor, the system tells Cao Yuan his mission is to piss this guy off. Just then, a hooded figure appears, hyping up the ponytail guy as the Light of the Humans. This silver wolf girl is completely baffled by this absurdly grandiose title, and honestly, same. Ponytail guy then lists his own stats like a video game character, boasting about being undefeated in 300 battles. Cao Yuan steps forward with a big friendly smile, pointing out the hooded figure is this guy's uncle. With a creepy grin, the uncle confirms their family connection, clearly proud of his nephew's ego. Our boy takes a single, decisive step forward. With a glint in his eye, he declares this whole situation just got a lot easier. And then he just tackles the uncle, pinning him to the ground while the guy screams in total shock. With the uncle pinned, Cao Yuan smugly tells the Light of the Humans to come down and negotiate. This uncle pathetically begs for his nephew to save him, but Ponytail guy just looks on unmoved. In a wild twist, Zhou Yu actually blames his uncle's weakness for humanity's bad reputation. What a guy. This silver wolf girl chimes in, agreeing that humans having frail bodies is just a known fact. Suddenly, Zhou Yu is right behind her, grabbing her and asking if she just called him weak. He then gives her a little forehead flick, unleashing a blast of purple energy at point-blank range. This sends her rocketing backward through the air, completely caught off guard by the attack. She crashes into the ground with a very undignified bam, getting totally owned. Zhou Yu just scoffs that the demon physique is no big deal, showing off his own glowing hand. From her new spot on the ground, the wolf girl glares up, absolutely livid at the humiliation. He then forms a massive energy blade, preparing to bring it straight down on her head. While posing, he introduces himself as Zhou Yu, telling her to remember his name before she dies. Cao Yuan immediately shouts for him to wait, trying to interrupt the villain monologue. But Zhou Yu just glances over, coldly promising our boy that he will be next on the chopping block. Holding the hostage tighter, Cao Yuan reminds him that if the girl dies, so does his uncle. This finally gets a rise out of him as Zhou Yu seethes, asking how anyone dares threaten him. Our boy puts a knife to the uncle's throat, who promptly starts screaming for his nephew to save him. This system dings that the anger him mission is complete, adding a new objective to steal a skill. Cao Yuan is completely baffled by the avoid assault part, since he is the one holding the hostage. In the coldest move imaginable, Zhou Yu calls his uncle a disgrace and promises to arrange his funeral. Both Cao Yuan and his hostage are completely floored by Zhou Yu's ice-cold betrayal. With zero hesitation, Zhou Yu unleashes a massive sword strike, forcing Cao Yuan to scramble for cover. A storm of crescent energy blades follows, as this guy clearly has no problem with collateral damage. While dragging the screaming uncle, Cao Yuan cannot believe this guy is actually attacking his own family. Zhou Yu just gets annoyed, grudgingly admitting our boy is pretty good at not dying. Our boy tries the blood is thicker than water speech, which is a bold move on a guy who just ordered a funeral. Unmoved, Zhou Yu declares his uncle's death a glorious sacrifice for humanity. What a patriot. It finally sinks in for Cao Yuan that this dude is a complete sociopath with zero family loyalty. Done trying to reason with him, Cao Yuan plants his feet, ready to switch tactics. He unleashes that freezing breath skill he copied earlier, blasting the area with ice. This icy blast whips up into a vortex, completely engulfing Zhou Yu for a moment. But Zhou Yu just slices right through it, closing the distance in a flash. So Cao Yuan just yeets the uncle directly at him, screaming, "Take this back." Problem solved. Zhou Yu effortlessly catches the human projectile, looking absolutely disgusted with his despicable relative. And that brief moment of distraction is all our boy needs to vanish and reappear right behind him. With a wicked grin, Cao Yuan sees the perfect opening to strike while his back is turned. He then unleashes his ultimate technique, the legendary 1,000-year strike, and it connects right where you'd expect, sending Zhou Yu into a world of pure, unadulterated agony. This Light of the Humans is left completely incapacitated, clutching his backside on the ground. And Cao Yuan just admires his handiwork, noting how effective the Dragon Claw hand is for strategic butt attacks. This system confirms the Dragon Claw hand was a success, and now his mission is to defeat the Light of the Humans. But Cao Yuan is a little confused, thinking it is way too early in the game to be taking this guy down. Just as he is thinking that, a furious Zhou Yu leaps into the air, screaming for revenge, making Cao Yuan suspect the system is just trolling him. His face is pure rage as he finishes his thought. He wants to kill Cao Yuan, big surprise. But the sword slices right through nothing, as Cao Yuan's form just vanishes into a ghostly afterimage. Standing alone, Zhou Yu is completely baffled, wondering how his target just vanished into thin air. Hiding behind a tree is a tiny green sprout, apparently Cao Yuan, who is just glad he shrank in time to dodge that. In his new adorable form, he asks the system for any dirt it has on this ridiculously overpowered guy. This system delivers, labeling Zhou Yu a zone protagonist with 300 wins, 0 losses, and weaknesses currently checking. Real helpful. With the system still buffering, our little sprout realizes he is going to have to stall for time somehow. That plan goes out the window immediately as Zhou Yu appears, sword raised, ready to turn him into a salad. Suddenly, someone smacks the little guy right across the face, but it is not Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu is left looking confused, thinking he just hit an illusion, but he is about to meet the real deal. It is the silver wolf girl, back on her feet and looking absolutely furious. She snatches up Sprout Cao Yuan and sprints past Zhou Yu, screaming for him to die. Our boy is immediately smitten with hearts in his eyes, thinking his little Yao Yao has come to the rescue. She is not having it, yelling at him to never call her by that disgusting name again. Meanwhile, Yu is hot on their trail, still spouting his inferior being's nonsense. He taunts her from behind, telling her to hurry up and figure out a plan before he catches them. But the little sprout has a plan, telling the wolf girl, who he is still calling Yin Yao, to just stand by. This silver wolf girl is completely lost, asking what in the world stand by is supposed to mean. But then Sprout Cao Yuan unleashes a frost breath right from her arms, catching her by surprise. Yu just scoffs at the attack, unimpressed and calling it nothing more than a small trick. That is when a massive flaming wolf spirit erupts from the ice, lunging straight for him. He is momentarily stunned, realizing our boy cleverly hid other skills inside the icy wind. This whole area then explodes in a massive fireball, seemingly engulfing the light of the humans. After the dust settles, the wolf girl leans against a tree, still protectively holding the little sprout. She is actually a bit impressed, asking if he somehow managed to kill the guy with that combo. Of course, Cao Yuan is just using this as an excuse to get comfy. The man has his priorities straight. He then pops back into his human form, still burying his face right where it was, leaving her baffled. Our boy is just blissfully enjoying himself, muttering about how warm and comfortable it is. It finally clicks for her and she goes from confused to completely mortified in about 2 seconds. With a furious blush, she shoves him away, screaming at the pervert for molesting her again. She is still absolutely fuming, yelling at him to keep his hands to himself, damn it. Cao Yuan tries to defend his honor, pointing out that she was the one hugging him a moment ago. Ignoring her rage, he turns his attention back to the system, asking if it has found Yu's weakness yet. This system delivers big time, revealing their opponent has a major psychological trauma from nearly drowning as a kid. This gives him a great idea. All he has to do is throw the guy in a lake, which is nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off, while the wolf girl just assumes he has brain damage from talking to himself. With a huge grin, he turns to her, cheerfully announcing that he is going to need her help. This wolf girl is totally baffled by his plan but just kinda goes with it. Just then, Yu finally reappears, taunting Cao Yuan for daring to show his face again. So our boy points right at him, declaring no more running and challenging him to a 1v1 deathmatch. And of course, Mr. Ego himself smugly accepts the challenge without a second thought. That is the cue for Yin Yao to leap into the air, launching herself straight at the guy. She smashes into the ground with enough force to create a massive crater. And just like that, Yu is face down in a brand new pond, problem solved. With their opponent knocked out cold, Cao Yuan drags him out of the water while the wolf girl asks what is next. Our boy gets a grim look, deciding it is way too dangerous to let this guy live. He immediately draws his sword, preparing to finish the job right then and there. Looking down at his foe, he declares that he cannot be blamed for what comes next. He raises the blade over the unconscious Yu, ready to deliver the final strike. For a moment, he looks completely resolved to go through with it. But then he just cannot do it, hesitating at the last possible second. Yin Yao watches this, completely confused by his sudden change from pervert to merciful hero. And that is when Yu's eye snaps open. He was faking the whole time. She immediately freaks out, realizing the light of the humans is back in action. Yu just looks up at the blade, coolly asking why Cao Yuan did not just kill him. Our boy stammers out a terrible excuse about not attacking an opponent who has not recovered. Surprisingly, Yu just sits up, promising the beast tribe girl they will fight again after he rests. Yin Yao is furious he did not kill Yu, demanding to know what he was possibly thinking. With a sudden steely gaze, Cao Yuan's eyes narrow, showing he has made a decision. And then he just takes her hand, a surprisingly smooth and reassuring move for our boy. We then flash back to them hiding up in a tree, spying on a couple of new guys below. A servant asks his young master if they should bother greeting the local silver wolf tribe. This wolf-eared pretty boy scoffs, calling them stupid dogs while plotting to get a phoenix. Up in the branches, our heroes are completely baffled by this talk of a legendary creature. So Yin Yao explains a tribal secret about a powerful being that is weakest during its 300-year rebirth. Right on cue, a massive, fiery magic circle erupts in the sky. Talk about convenient timing. Blazing energy immediately starts raining down through the forest, catching everyone off guard. Cao Yuan instantly realizes the rebirth she just mentioned is happening right this second. This fiery blast sends the two guys on the ground flying, their smug little chat officially over, and the fan-wielding villain is totally shocked to see our heroes screaming at them from below. In a bizarre comedic beat, they turn into alpacas while Yin Yao suggests they just attack. But the villain just laughs them off, promising they will regret ever trying to chase him. As he zips away, Cao Yuan grabs Yin Yao and yanks her into a full-on sprint to follow. She is all in, yelling that they have to hurry and catch the guy before he gets away. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan is already exhausted, dramatically telling her to give up because they are all doomed. While she carries him, some kind of dark projectile suddenly zips right over their heads. Our boy, still being carried like a sack of potatoes, dazedly asks if she saw that thing fly by. This fan-wielding pretty boy is having his big villain moment, convinced he is about to be the strongest. But his monologue gets cut short by a mysterious demon as his whole world starts to crack. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan wakes up at the bottom of a massive crater, wondering where the hell he is. He is aching all over and has absolutely no clue how he ended up in this pit. His memories start flooding back, falling from the sky and getting blasted by a fireball. His first thought naturally is a full-blown panic over where Yin Yao has gone. He finds a pristine forest and a lake, which is super weird considering the recent firestorm. And there is Yin Yao casually bathing a mysterious red-haired woman in the water. This new girl seems completely unfazed, just calmly thanking Yin Yao for the bath. Our boy, of course, immediately starts peeking from behind a tree because priorities, but Yin Yao's wolf senses are tingling and she whips around with a death glare. She spots him instantly and launches a wooden bucket straight at his face, calling him a scoundrel. While yelling at him not to look, she quickly wraps the redhead in a towel. Cao Yuan is just left completely baffled by this whole bizarre turn of events. Then the redhead casually mentions he is the kid who survived her attack. Wait, asterisk her asterisk attack. He immediately recognizes her voice as the one who was talking during the fiery rebirth. Yin Yao's ears just twitch with pure unadulterated rage at his peeping, so she decks him right in the face, screaming that she told him not to look. This redhead then clarifies that Cao Yuan was actually hugging her when he got hit. And Yin Yao goes from furious to mortified, calling him a pervert all over again. So we flash back to how they met, the redhead on top of him coolly saying hello to the young one. Cao Yuan is understandably confused since she looks about as young as he does. She just gives him a smug little smile, totally enjoying his complete and utter bewilderment. But their little moment is interrupted by the fan-wielding villain who warns the Great Phoenix to avoid demons. Yin Yao's jaw hits the floor as she realizes this redhead is the legendary creature they have been looking for. This phoenix, however, just scoffs, accusing the guy of being afraid she will sign a contract with someone else. He then tries to paint Cao Yuan as some kind of master manipulator, telling her to stay away for her own good. With his little speech over, he draws a knife on our boy, declaring it is his duty to protect her. Cao Yuan finally gets to his feet, asking who the hell this guy thinks he is to be giving orders. That is all the invitation the villain needs, announcing he is done being polite as he lunges in for an attack. Our boy is immediately outclassed, unable to even see his opponent's movements clearly. In a flash, the two of them blur across the clearing in a high-speed duel, and the villain lands a vicious slash right across Cao Yuan's chest, a solid hit. Yin Yao absolutely loses it, screaming at the attacker for going too far. Meanwhile, the phoenix just watches the whole thing with a completely unreadable expression, not moving an inch. This force of the blow sends Cao Yuan flying, reverting him back into his tiny, helpless sprout form. Forgetting her anger, Yin Yao immediately rushes to his side, asking if he is alright. This fan-wielder just smirks, gloating that his sword technique is a guaranteed kill move. Furious, she demands to know why he had to go for a lethal blow instead of just ending the fight. And through it all, the phoenix just stares on, her eyes narrowed, giving absolutely nothing away. But the phoenix immediately calls out Zhou Yu, questioning why he'd use a killing blow on a kid. He just scoffs, rambling about the eternal war between humans and demons while demanding the sprout's body. Furious, Yin Yao gets in his face, challenging him to kill her too since she is also a demon. He actually points his sword at her, warning her not to get in his way despite her divine status. Without even flinching, she just tells him to get on with it, a total badass move. This completely throws him off, and all he can do is call her stupid for her defiance. That is when the phoenix chimes in, calling him a coward whose thoughts do not match his actions. Of course, he denies it, puffing up his chest and claiming the light of the humans is not afraid of anything. She just looks at him with total disdain, clearly unimpressed by his arrogant little speech. Then her attention turns to our boy, noting with interest that he somehow survived one of her attacks. With a single touch, she starts pouring some kind of glowing pink energy right into the little sprout. Zhou Yu absolutely loses his mind, realizing she is about to form a contract with him. He tries to interfere, shouting something about a blood connection as he raises his sword. But he is blasted back by a massive pillar of fiery energy, his interruption failing completely. Inside the inferno, the phoenix holds up the sprout, declaring their oath is now unbreakable. Her hands glow as the powerful magic swirls around them, finalizing the pact between them. And just like that, Cao Yuan is back in his human form, falling right into her arms. She catches him gently, holding him close in a surprisingly tender moment. Leaning in, she tells him to wake up because if he does not, he is about to die. And with a flash of green, our boy's eyes snap open. He is awake and back in the game. From Yin Yao's perspective, the phoenix is holding our freshly revived boy in her arms, and the wolf girl immediately starts blushing, calling him a big pervert for the situation. She is completely flustered, clutching her chest and wondering what this weird new feeling is. But their moment is cut short by Zhou Yu, who is back up and screaming that the phoenix's contractor must die. He immediately starts powering up, announcing he is getting serious with a fancy sword technique. With a flash of blue energy, he unleashes another deadly-looking slash right at them. Cao Yuan is justifiably freaking out, yelling at the guy for trying to kill him again. So in a puff of green smoke, he transforms back into his tiny, adorable sprout form. This sprout then immediately plays the victim, telling Sister Phoenix that Zhou Yu is bullying him. This sends Yin Yao into a rage, screaming at the pervert to get away from the phoenix. This phoenix just calls her out for siding with the enemy, which only makes Yin Yao more flustered. Looking down at the sprout, she deadpans that she is already regretting her contract with someone so lame. Our boy is completely lost, asking what contract she is even talking about. She then holds him up, explaining she is technically a baby since her age resets on rebirth. As a new team, she lets him call her Dan, and he is immediately thrilled by this. Then she casually mentions her last 6 contractors all died, talk about a red flag. This little sprout is horrified, desperately asking if they at least died of old age. Zhou Yu helpfully clarifies the fine print. Anyone who wants her power has to kill him first. Dan just shrugs, saying she thought his fight was interesting and wanted to see more. And if he dies, she adds, it is no loss to her, leaving our boy in absolute despair. Dan cheerfully adds she has no problem killing useless contractors, and our boy is now 100% sure she is a devil. Back on the field, Yu lunges at the fleeing Sprout, screaming that there is no escape this time, and then he immediately trips over absolutely nothing, eating dirt in a spectacular failure of an attack. Yuan, meanwhile, zips by, having easily dodged the attack that never even happened. This villain is completely stunned, somehow blaming the Sprout's amazing agility for his own clumsiness. Watching from the sidelines, Yin Yao has absolutely no idea what she is even looking at, but Dan just smirks, sensing that the real entertainment is just getting started. A massive, shadowy wolf creature suddenly looms behind them, lamenting that he is too late for the contract. Yin Yao whips around, totally on edge and demanding to know who is there. Back in the fight, Yu is suddenly ensnared by glowing energy ribbons, screaming that it is impossible. Our little Sprout is also in the thick of it, frantically weaving through the same energy whips. This swordsman is losing it, bragging about killing stronger demons while being utterly helpless. And Yuan just shouts back that he has no clue what is happening either, top-tier teamwork. This shadow solidifies into a huge white wolf man, who casually greets Dan after a few hundred years. Yin Yao immediately plays bodyguard, stepping in front of Dan to confront the newcomer. But Dan just calmly identifies him, calling the wolfman her second brother. This brother, however, makes it clear he is not here to reminisce, his expression grim. Her own expression hardens as she feels a wave of pure killing intent coming right from him. In a sudden move, he grabs her by the wrist, his intentions clearly hostile. And then he yells at Yin Yao to run for her life, completely flipping the script. Dan's brother immediately kicks Yin Yao away, sending her flying to get her out of the way. She goes tumbling through the air with our little Sprout in tow, both completely caught off guard. Yin Yao is still airborne, looking absolutely furious as she tries to regain her balance mid-flight. Her crash landing is softened by Yuan, who is suddenly human again and catches her in a classic awkward pose. Meanwhile, the wolfman smashes the ground, announcing he is just following orders to bring Dan back. He then looks down at his sister, calling her pathetic and weak for a newly reborn phoenix. Picking her up, he questions why a divine beast would ever stoop to serving a human master. Dan just glares back, coldly calling her brother a sellout who has become someone else's dog. He just scoffs that she would not get it, warning her that his claws are still plenty sharp. Rushing back into the fray, Yin Yao desperately tries to get them to stop the fight. She shields Dan, pleading with the wolfman not to be so brutal with his own sibling. This guy is completely unimpressed, calling her a cheap silver wolf and telling her to butt out. So Yin Yao pulls rank, declaring she is the future leader and Dan is under the protection of her husband. Wait, what? That just enrages him more, and he threatens to kill the inferior wolf for her insolence. Instead of backing down, Yin Yao just holds Dan tighter, bracing for the fatal blow. Dan seems genuinely surprised by this, looking up at her protector with a confused expression. But the attack is stopped cold by Yuan, who grabs the wolf's wrist at the last second. With a death glare, our boy warns him that while he can be a target, Yin Yao is off limits. This wolfman is genuinely shocked, realizing this human contractor actually has some power. And Yuan just smirks back, telling the big guy he probably should not have underestimated him. This wolfman clarifies his orders. He is taking Dan back, which means her contractor has to die. But Yuan just gives him a cocky grin, telling the guy he will have to prove he has got the skills. Yin Yao, still calling him a pervert, nervously asks if he actually has a plan for this giant. He glances back with total confidence, assuring her not to worry because he has got it all figured out. This actually stuns Yin Yao, who starts to wonder if he is bluffing or actually has an ace up his sleeve. With a wicked little smirk, our boy announces his brilliant foolproof plan is to run for their lives, scooping up both girls and absolutely booking it out of there. Dan's brother is absolutely furious, screaming at the despicable scum to stop running. Just as he is about to give chase, however, a voice tells him to wait, stopping him cold. And it is Yu of all people stepping in to play hero by declaring the Phoenix protects humans. He looks dead serious, announcing that he has now repaid some kind of favor to a Lang Yan. Meanwhile, back with the escape party, Yin Yao is not enjoying the ride and demands to be let down. Dan, on the other hand, casually asks if he really just abandoned that human to get murdered back there. Our boy yells back that he had no choice since there was no way he could win that fight. This prompts Dan to tease him about being so unmanly in front of his wife, much to Yin Yao's horror. A completely flustered Yin Yao tries to explain she only married him for a very special non-romantic reason. Dan just gives her contractor a sly look, reminding him that his power is way greater than before. While Yuan wallows in despair, Dan muses that he is a surprisingly reliable husband. With a burst of newfound confidence, he tells the girls to wait there as he prepares to head back. And back at the clearing, Yu unleashes a massive sword attack against the wolfman. Yu is barely standing, calling the wolfman despicable for using tactics that are just being stronger than him. This wolfman is not impressed, admitting Yu has some skill, but he is just not worth the effort. Defeated, Yu blames his loss on his sword suddenly failing him, a classic excuse. And that is when Yuan pops up, casually asking the Taoist if he is already throwing in the towel. Yu is completely shocked, demanding to know why Lang Yan would ever come back here. Our boy just gives him a look, saying it is not like he had a choice in the matter. His system finally pipes up with some great advice. The target is unbeatable, so retreat immediately. But he completely ignores it, crossing his arms and declaring that he is not running this time. Dan's brother is delighted, thanking Yuan for saving him the trouble of a future manhunt. With a vicious grin, he invites the contractor to come at him for an honorable beatdown. Yuan smirks right back, saying that is exactly what he was hoping for. So the wolfman immediately lunges forward, roaring for him to die as he throws a massive punch. Our boy stands his ground, staring down the giant fist that is about to turn him into a pancake. That punch comes in like a freight train, a blur of white fur and pure killing intent, and it completely misses, leaving the Wolfman looking genuinely confused as to where his target went, because Cao Yuan is now airborne, popping up right over his head with a classic "I am over here" taunt. He then unleashes his own special move, a lightning-infused greedy wolf claw. This attack slams right into the Wolfman's shoulder, who actually yells out in pain from the impact. But the move just rebounds, sending Cao Yuan flying as he realizes his opponent is built like a brick wall. He barely sticks the landing, skidding hard across the ground from the sheer force of his own failed attack. Dan's brother just stands there, completely unfazed by the attack, asking if that is all he has got. He looks more bored than anything, casually mentioning that the hit did not even hurt him. Our boy immediately starts yelling at his system to find a weakness, any weakness at all. And the system helpfully reports that victory is impossible with a 0% chance of success. Thanks for that. He is absolutely horrified, wondering why Dan would ever tell him he had a shot at winning this. So he immediately tries to call the whole thing off, waving and saying no thanks, see you next time. This Wolfman is just baffled, asking why he'd play hero if he was not prepared to die for it. He throws another punch that craters the ground, still confused why he cannot land a hit on this guy. Watching from the sidelines, Joyu notes there is something very strange about how Cao Yuan is dodging. Our boy figures it out, his body is moving on its own, reflexively evading every single attack, which leads to his next brilliant idea: he will just tire the big guy out, problem solved. Dan's brother is just completely unimpressed by this genius-level strategy. This kid smugly explains that since he cannot be hit, all he needs to do is stall for time. But the Wolfman's eyes glow red as he announces he has seen right through the trick. Cao Yuan is completely lost, having no idea what trick he is even talking about. A blur of energy suddenly zips past him, way faster than any of the previous attacks. With a smug grin, the Wolfman points out that he did in fact just hit him. Our boy looks down at his bleeding arm, totally stunned that he actually got tagged. He is completely baffled, wondering how his opponent's speed suddenly skyrocketed like that. Even Joyu, the supposed expert, is hiding and wondering what kind of move that was. Joyu scoffs, claiming he is not so easily tricked by some fancy footwork. But Dan explains that Cao Yuan's contract gave him a wind formation, basically a battlefield-wide radar. This just confuses the swordsman more, since predicting attacks with wind should be impossible. With a smug look, Dan clarifies it also requires a supercomputer for a brain, which our boy apparently has. Back in the fight, Cao Yuan gets a system alert that his opponent is powering up for another go. Dan's brother, who now looks suspiciously like a tiger, vows to absolutely crush him this time. He unleashes a flurry of attacks, moving way too fast for Cao Yuan to even track. Our boy's eyes go wide as he finally understands the enemy's terrifying new strategy. This Wolfman smirks, having realized he can just follow Cao Yuan's movement trail to land a hit. Cao Yuan is in full panic mode, knowing he absolutely has to dodge this next one or it is over. A massive fist comes flying in, charged with pure, unadulterated "you are dead" energy. And it connects, sending our boy flying with a nasty gash right across his arm. This brother gloats that prediction is useless against raw speed, telling him to enjoy bleeding out. But Cao Yuan is just confused by the threat, looking down at his arm as the ground is torn up around him. Because the wound is already closing up, healing almost instantly, perks of being a plant, I guess. This completely stuns his opponent, who just stares in disbelief at the disappearing injury. Cao Yuan just gives him a cheeky grin, chalking it all up to his grass demon fast recovery. Watching from the side, Yin Yao is so flustered by his sudden coolness she cannot even look. Her eyes are sparkling though, clearly a little impressed by her husband's new trick. And then suddenly the three spectators are teleported to a random cliff, totally lost. Dan gives a cryptic smile, telling the little silver wolf to just watch carefully. Panicking, Yin Yao is convinced her husband is about to get murdered by the tiger demon. But Dan just calmly reassures her the interesting part is just getting started, all according to plan. Back on the ground, Cao Yuan gets blasted backwards, screaming like he is on a bad carnival ride. His opponent mocks him for wasting energy since he obviously cannot land a real hit. With a furious glare, Cao Yuan declares that after hurting his wife and pet, he has to fight back. This sends Yin Yao into a rage, yelling about who he is calling a wife or a pet while Dan just smirks. Desperate, Yin Yao pleads with Dan to let her go down there and help him out. Instead, Dan just gently takes her hand, stopping her from doing anything rash. This sudden contact leaves Yin Yao completely stunned and speechless. Dan just tells her to relax and leave everything to her, holding her hand tight. Meanwhile, the Wolfman decides he is done playing, vowing to show Cao Yuan a real skill. He stomps the ground, unleashing a massive attack called Three Arms Beheaded, which sounds perfectly safe. Cao Yuan is completely caught off guard as crackling blue energy erupts all around him. This attack forms a massive energy prison, trapping our boy right in the very center. His opponent explains this little trick will hit everyone within 100 miles, a bit of an overreaction maybe. A massive pillar of light shoots into the sky as Dan and Yin Yao watch the explosion from afar. Elsewhere, a wounded Zhou Yu worries that Lang Yan is done for after taking that devastating hit. Yin Yao immediately snaps back that the pervert's name is not Lang Yan, her priorities firmly in check. Zhou Yu just remembers Cao Yuan's promise not to fight an injured opponent, calling himself Lang Yan of the Demon Clan. Yin Yao is just completely lost, wondering what on earth Zhou Yu is even talking about. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan emerges from the blast totally unharmed, looking like he just took a light breeze. With a cocky smirk, he informs the Wolfman that his big fancy skill is completely useless. This sends Dan's brother into a rage, absolutely livid that a human is making a fool of him. Cao Yuan just keeps poking the bear, taunting him and asking if he is gonna try that move again. Instead, our boy unleashes his own new trick, a massive frost breath attack. This wolfman gets frozen solid, recognizing the dragon power and wondering how this kid has it. But then a voice calls out his name and Cao Yuan looks around totally confused. It is Dan floating down from the sky while he yells at her for being so reckless. She lands with a perfect bingo, right as he is conveniently face-planting on the ground. A completely flustered Cao Yuan demands to know what she thinks she is doing here. Dan just smiles sweetly, saying she only came down to say thank you. Then she gives him a sly look, calling him her little Cao Yuan, which is not helping his composure. He absolutely panics, yelling at her not to use his real name so the enemy cannot track him. Dan's expression turns cold, asking if it matters since she's just a pet calling her master. She leans into the guilt trip, looking heartbroken about her status as a mere pet. Our boy immediately realizes he has stepped on a landmine. He made the ancient phoenix angry. At that moment, the wolfman breaks free, hovering over them as blood drips from above. He lets out a huge laugh, thanking the phoenix for the assist. Wait, what? And Dan gives him a knowing smirk, revealing she knows his big attack has a weakness. He has to touch the ground. Dan reveals her master plan, explaining how a hidden seal will paralyze her brother at the perfect moment. Floating above the chaos, she scolds him for being so reckless and underestimating his opponent. She then unleashes her own attack, a warrior wind blast that shoots up from below. But her brother just grunts, completely convinced that this little trick is no threat to him at all. This scene suddenly shifts to a memory of Cao Yuan dragging Dan away while the Tiger Man just watches. In this flashback, she desperately tells him to run, warning that she cannot save him if he gets caught. A totally lost Cao Yuan demands an explanation, but she is not giving him any answers. Then we jump to another flashback, this time showing a younger Zhou Yu facing down a small demon. His sword glows with intense purple energy as he celebrates finally obtaining the Chi of Luck. From the sidelines, Dan's brother watches this display of power with a very interested look. Zhou Yu is shown in a massive battle, unleashing a storm of lightning against another swordsman. With a furious shout, he unleashes his ultimate technique, the Sword of Luck. His attack connects in a blinding explosion of power, completely overwhelming his enemy. Back in the present, Cao Yuan is floored, realizing Zhou Yu is hiding that kind of trump card. Dan just gives him a knowing smirk, clarifying that he was not exactly hiding it on purpose. She then gives a quick lesson on the Chi of Luck, basically a natural resource some people are born with. And according to her, Zhou Yu is one of the best at using it. The guy is practically swimming in good fortune. His sudden loss was because he got knocked out of his luck state, which made his sword fail him. It all clicks for Cao Yuan. The system's grand scheme is to steal Zhou Yu's plot armor for him, and right on cue, a sword slams down from above, pinning the Tiger Man's hand to the ground. And just like that, Zhou Yu is standing over the Tiger Man, sword pinning his hand to the dirt. He is honestly just as shocked as anyone, wondering how he even managed to stop that attack. Down in the massive crater, Dan's brother is completely immobilized. Talk about a bad day. From the sidelines, Cao Yuan watches in awe as the swordsman just casually walks away from the scene. Zhou Yu gives a parting shot, saying he is done here and that some other human hero can finish the job. This sets Cao Yuan off, who yells that Zhou Yu would be a corpse if he had not shown up to help. This swordsman pauses, turning back to make one final point before he leaves for good. But Yin Yao suddenly interrupts, angrily clarifying that she is not his friend or his sister. As Zhou Yu finally departs, she mutters pervert under her breath, her priorities firmly in order. Her triumphant moment lasts all of 2 seconds before she looks completely panicked again. Glancing over at Cao Yuan, her expression shifts from irritation to genuine concern. And then she is just a blushing, flustered mess, unable to even look in his direction. Finally mustering the courage, she shouts out his name for the very first time, Cao Yuan. Our boy is totally floored, pointing at himself and asking if she actually just used his real name. She tries to play it cool with a huff, acting like it is no big deal, a classic tsundere defense. Internally, though, she is having a complete meltdown, her sparkling eyes screaming, "What do I do?" Dan cuts in, announcing she is about to seal the tiger demon and telling them to get back. Taking her at her word, Cao Yuan immediately grabs Yin Yao's hand to pull her to safety. This sudden, very direct hand-holding moment definitely catches them both off guard. And Yin Yao is back to being a blushing, frozen statue, her brain having officially left the building. And we jump to a flashback of Dan, who is thinking to herself that it has already been 600 years. She turns to someone off-screen, asking if they are finally awake after all this time. It is her brother, who reminds her it has been 6 centuries since she last blessed a human contractor. Dan just gives him a curious look, asking what kind of contractor he is even talking about. Her brother starts to explain that 600 years ago, he saw a kid with a certain fighting style, but Dan completely snaps, screaming at him to just shut his mouth. She threatens to literally rip his throat out if he dares to say that name. Yikes, touchy subject. Surrounded by a storm of fiery blades, she doubles down on the threat, looking absolutely terrifying. This Tiger Man is completely shook, recognizing her insanely powerful Chi of Luck. Back in the present, Dan calmly declares that this time there is no escape for him. Then she looks around, wondering where her 2 little ones have run off to. Turns out Cao Yuan is hiding behind a tree, telling Yin Yao he is legitimately scared of Lord Phoenix. He is convinced Dan is a devil with a cute face who instantly cooked up a scheme to take down the tiger. But Yin Yao defends her, saying Dan is nice and that Cao Yuan is the most strategic demon she has ever seen. A flustered Cao Yuan insists he is just a pure boy who cannot possibly compare to that ancient monster. This earns him a sharp cheek pinch from Yin Yao, who warns him not to badmouth the phoenix. She then points out that Dan always has tricks and she thought Cao Yuan did too. Our boy is just panicking, wondering where he's supposed to pull all these tricks from. He is fresh out. Yin Yao absolutely loses it, yelling that if he has no plan, he must be crazy for going back to fight. But her rant cuts short as she notices something, pointing at his hand and telling him to wait. Cao Yuan stammers an apology about his hand, saying he lost control after the battle. Turning away, Yin Yao huffs that it is his own fault, so there is no need to apologize. Her blush gives her away as she calls him an idiot for returning with no plan, a classic "I was worried" insult. This gets Cao Yuan's attention, who asks if she is actually concerned about him. She immediately denies it with a swift kick to his back, screaming that he is her slave now, a totally normal reaction. After he face plants, she instantly regrets it, looking shocked at her own strength. Our boy pops right back up, absolutely livid and demanding to know if that is how she treats the wounded. Yin Yao just screams back at him to know his place, their bickering chemistry fully restored. But then her whole demeanor changes and she gives him a genuine smile, thanking him for the rescue. With sparkling eyes, she even invites him to go to the demon race meeting with her. This sudden 180 leaves Cao Yuan a blushing, sputtering mess on the ground, completely short-circuited. She just holds out a hand, telling him to get up already. Looking up at her, Cao Yuan cannot help but smile, totally disarmed by her kindness. And in a very deliberate shoujo manga-style moment, he takes her hand. He lets her pull him to his feet, the romantic tension suddenly off the charts. Blushing, she just says it is time for them to continue their journey, so now they are just casually walking off into the woods, holding hands like it is no big deal. Our boy is just wondering why she is being so forward all of a sudden. She then turns and asks Yineming if he likes her. Wait, who the hell is Yineming? This second the words leave her mouth, her brain completely shuts down, realizing she just said the quiet part out loud. And Yin Yao's immediate reaction to that name slip is a swift, open-palmed slap. This hit connects squarely with Cao Yuan's face, sending him stumbling back in total disbelief. He lands hard on the ground, absolutely fuming, while she just glares down at him from above. She warns him that if he spouts any more nonsense, she will not be holding back next time. Our boy just mutters about how terrifying she is as she storms off, leaving him in the dust. He tries to apologize, calling out Yineming again and telling him not to be mad. But their little spat is interrupted by a massive shadow suddenly falling over them. It is a gigantic, absolutely ripped tiger man looming over them with some serious murder intent. Yin Yao panics, wondering why this guy is still here and yelling for Yineming to get back. But Cao Yuan just charges forward instead, meeting the Tiger Man's wolf claw attack head-on. This punch lands, kicking up a huge cloud of dust that completely hides the Tiger Man from view. He is completely baffled by the result, wondering if the guy was always this weak. Then a pair of glowing red eyes appear in the smoke, warning him that he has no idea what he has just done. And out of the dust pops a tiny, fluffy white tiger cat screaming about how he dared to hit it. Yin Yao is just frozen solid, her brain completely short-circuiting at this sudden, adorable turn of events. Then she immediately snatches the little guy for a hug, squealing about how cute he is while he demands to be released. Meanwhile, Dan is just chilling in a tree, asking Cao Yuan how he knew the tiger's power was sealed. He explains that if an enemy is a threat to your life, you just have to take them out, sealed or not. She gives him a sly smile, admitting that the whole thing was just a little test of his resolve. In the background, the tiny tiger continues to threaten bloody murder while being smothered with affection, a truly fearsome villain. Cao Yuan holds up the tiny, furious tiger man, asking Yin Yao if Dan's story is legit. This little guy is completely baffled as he is held by the scruff, demanding to know what is happening to him. With a truly evil grin, Cao Yuan promises to show this little furball what real power feels like. Oh, this is gonna be good. And his grand plan is treating the fearsome demon like a cheap puppet, making him do little hops. This tiny villain loses his mind, screaming that he is a white tiger, not a cat, his dignity completely shattered. Meanwhile, Dan stretches and casually asks Yin Yao if she is heading to the big demon race meeting. Yin Yao confirms it, adding that Cao Yuan is the future leader of the Silver Wolf clan, a fact she seems pretty proud of. But Dan shuts that down, saying he has to go with her, so Yin Yao is on her own for the meeting. She then grabs Cao Yuan, announcing she is borrowing her little husband to go seal someone dangerous in Wangdu. Both of them are completely floored. Wangdu is human territory and they have no idea what she is plotting. Dan just ignores them, dangling the tiny tiger by his leg as he screams that he is not going anywhere. Cao Yuan is already over this, muttering about how much trouble she is and asking if she cannot just go alone. She immediately plays the victim card, claiming she is just a helpless girl who needs a big strong man to protect her. The manipulation is off the charts. And our boy totally falls for it, getting all flustered as she pats his head like a puppy. So he improvises, suddenly grabbing Yin Yao and pulling her into a tight hug from behind. He then declares to Dan that they are a newlywed couple who simply cannot be separated, a bold, desperate play. Yin Yao's ear twitches violently as anger veins pop around her head, not a fan of this particular strategy. She absolutely explodes, screaming at him to let go and calling him a pervert for the 100th time. Cao Yuan just shushes her, desperately whispering for her to play along and help him out of this mess. And just like that, they are putting on a show for Dan, insisting they are inseparable while she just watches, looking intrigued. Dan lays out her logic, saying a weak contractor needs her protection. It is just good business. This flattery totally works on Cao Yuan, who blushes and agrees while Yin Yao looks disgusted. She is absolutely horrified, realizing he was completely tempted by Dan's manipulative little speech. Cao Yuan then spins a new excuse for Dan, claiming he only stayed because poor weak Yin Yao needs him, and a giant arrow literally points down at Yin Yao, officially labeling her the weak link here. His rambling is cut short when Yin Yao places a hand on his shoulder, her patience clearly gone. That friendly touch quickly turns into a bone-crushing grip, shutting him up real fast. This weak girl then demonstrates her fragility by judo flipping him straight into the ground. Meanwhile, Dan is just loving the show, cheering on Yin Yao's absolute lack of mercy. With that settled, Yin Yao tells Dan she can have the pervert and to just bring back the body if he dies. Our boy is left face down in the dirt, weeping about the sheer bitterness of his existence. As she storms off, Cao Yuan explains to Dan that Yin Yao is his trump card for the meeting. A confident Dan just smiles, telling him not to worry because she has her own ways of handling things. And just like that, a golden feather appears on Yin Yao's back, a clear sign of Dan's protection. Now that they are alone, Dan turns to Cao Yuan with a serious look, ready to ask him something important. Her playful demeanor completely vanishes, replaced by a sharp, focused intensity. Then she hits him with a bombshell question. Does he know anything about reincarnation into another world? In a strange, empty space, she poses the question directly to a stunned Cao Yuan. This sends our boy into a full-blown panic, convinced she has somehow discovered his true identity. And Dan just watches him, her piercing gaze making it clear this is not just a casual question. Dan completely dismisses his concerns, saying she was overthinking things since he is just a small-time demon. She then informs the tiny tiger that he is coming too, since a seal prevents him from running away. Tough luck, buddy. Turning to Cao Yuan, she asks if he is ready, to which he can only ask ready for what. Our boy immediately starts having regrets, wondering if he was an absolute fool to rush into a contract with her. Without waiting for an answer, Dan just forms a hand sign, clearly preparing some kind of major spell. She closes her eyes, concentrating as a glowing orb of pure energy forms between her hands, and a massive golden vortex erupts from the ground, engulfing them in a whirlwind of light. This world whites out in a blinding flash as her teleportation spell goes off. This sends both Cao Yuan and the tiny tiger flying, screaming in absolute terror as they are launched into the air. He can barely shield his face, completely overwhelmed by the sheer power she just unleashed. One moment later, he is just floating in a strange, starry void, totally bewildered. They reappear high in the sky, looking down on the sprawling city of Wangdu. As gravity reasserts itself, Cao Yuan starts panicking, yelling at Dan to lead the way since she is the expert. But she just dives headfirst with a gleeful yahoo, while he and the tiger plummet with significantly less enthusiasm. Their landing is less than graceful, as both of them smash into the ground, creating a sizable crater. Half buried in the dirt, Cao Yuan is absolutely furious, screaming that a heads-up would have been nice. Dan just floats down elegantly, looking at the wreckage and calling him completely unreliable, zero sympathy whatsoever. Getting to his feet, our boy notices the place is eerily quiet for a capital city. She tells him to follow her to the city center, explaining that their target is there and she is not playing around. This whole situation just leaves Cao Yuan even more confused, wondering what on earth she is actually planning. Dan gets all somber, explaining this once bustling city has been desolate for 600 years. Gazing out over the ruins, she wonders how much longer this place can even survive. She then turns to Cao Yuan, quizzing him on why a territory this vast would be abandoned. He is clearly clueless, so she spells it out. A powerful external force is keeping everyone away. With a smug little smile, she calls him smart, her condescension practically dripping from the air. A system warning suddenly flashes about an unbeatable enemy, and Cao Yuan is just so over this. Just then, a massive shadow falls over him because of course another boss fight is starting, and looming above them is a giant water serpent, making our boy question all his recent decisions. This creature lunges forward immediately, skipping the whole villain monologue phase. Cao Yuan instinctively shoves Dan behind him, yelling for her to get back. It unleashes a dragon breath attack, which is basically a giant world-freezing ice beam. But a giant turtle head just appears out of nowhere, looking completely unimpressed by the spectacle. This massive newcomer casually asks Dan if our boy is her new contractor. A close-up on its ancient eye makes it very clear this is not just some random turtle. Its leg alone is the size of a small mountain, just to drive the point home. Cao Yuan absolutely loses his mind, screaming about the sheer size of this new problem. Dan, however, just tells him to watch his mouth, completely unfazed by the kaiju in front of them. This giant turtle greets them like an old friend, saying it has been a long time. She cuts right to the chase, telling the fourth master they do not have time to catch up. In response, the turtle just says they will follow the old rules then, which sounds super ominous. Cao Yuan finds himself in a strange mist, wondering if this is some kind of illusion. Dan appears, warning him that this is very real and if he fails to escape, he dies. She explains the old rule is to break the illusion, admitting she was trapped here for years. Then she gives him a flirty wink, saying she has no choice but to rely on him now. Her eyes narrow as she asks him just where he thinks he is going. Our boy tries to bail, saying he is off to find Yin Yao and this is not his problem. With a dark look, Dan tells him flat out that he is not allowed to run away. This sends him into a panic, terrified that this illusion is about to get him killed. But his freakout is cut short when a hand suddenly touches his head, leaving him baffled. And the illusion shifts, showing Dan in a very different outfit, asking where he is off to. She leans in close, trying to tempt him into staying with her for a little while. Her seductive gaze practically begs him not to leave. The manipulation is at an all-time high. Cao Yuan is just a flustered mess, insisting he is a good boy and totally not interested. She then asks if a good boy would mind helping her change into some other clothes. He just looks down, completely bewildered by this sudden turn of events. And somehow he is now holding her clothes in his hands, much to his confusion. He jumps back, screaming about when the heck he even grabbed them. Now they are by a stream and she is telling him to trust her as he sits there holding the evidence. She then turns around, blaming him for getting her clothes dirty, a masterclass in gaslighting. Leaning in clothes, she tells him to forget it if he will not wear them, leaving him utterly speechless. Illusion Dan gives him a smug little look, totally enjoying how flustered he is. She stands in the water asking what is wrong while playing the innocent victim card perfectly. Cao Yuan's brain just short-circuits, completely distracted by how good she looks in this fake world. Now she is right beside him, accusing him of coming all this way just to peep on her. The gaslighting is next level. His mind races, trying to remember fighting her brother, but the memory just is not there. Her hand rests gently on his chest, the touch itself a part of the illusion's powerful trap. He finally starts to realize this is not his memory, that the illusion is feeding him absolute lies. With a soft voice, she asks why he is so quiet, dialing up the manipulative pressure. Our boy desperately tries to fight back, telling himself to hold on because none of this is real. Outside the illusion, the giant turtle tells Dan that Cao Yuan is trapped in a century of condensed time. This scene then shifts to a memory, where an old turtle man reminisces about humans and demons being allies, but she cuts him off. She angrily insists that is all in the past and she has already forgotten the name Jiang Xian. This old man then spots the tiny tiger, asking why she brought a foolish creature along. Dan absolutely loses it, demanding to know why he always brings her contractors to these meetings. A single tear rolls down her cheek as she admits she just wanted to see him. And just like that, she breaks down crying, completely overwhelmed by the whole situation. He warns her that these contractors will only weaken her until she dies, reminding her they are not Jiang Xian. He then threatens that anyone who fails his illusion test will be killed, but Dan just scoffs at the idea he could ever kill her. Her absolute defiance completely shocks the old man, leaving him wide-eyed and speechless. Defeated, he bows his head, asking how she ever managed to escape his illusion in the first place. Inside the illusion, Cao Yuan calmly announces he has figured out the trick to this whole thing. This sudden confidence completely catches the old turtle man off guard. Our boy's genius plan was to just shut off all his senses to ignore the illusion's tricks. He is using his system's processing power to track the old man through air currents alone. This old man is completely bewildered, realizing the kid can somehow track him without sight or sound. At this point, he knows one wrong move and his position is completely exposed. But he decides to test it anyway, taking a single cautious step forward, a move that our boy immediately detects despite having his eyes shut. With a shout, he unleashes a spinning attack directly at the source of the sound, and the old master can only stare in shock as Cao Yuan's hand finds its mark. This kid's got him in a death grip, completely turning the tables on the ancient illusionist. With his eyes now open, Cao Yuan taunts the guy, saying he is not so scary without his illusions. This whole illusion shatters in a massive burst of fiery energy centered right on them. Meanwhile, Dan recognizes the move instantly. It is her own Zun-Ku array he is using. Having been thoroughly owned, the old man just mutters enough. And just like that, the illusion dissolves into water that Cao Yuan casually manipulates. Now that he is not getting choked out, the old man calmly declares that Cao Yuan has passed his little test. He even offers a bit of praise, acknowledging that dealing with him is a pain. But Cao Yuan just smirks, thinking to himself that the old guy has not changed a bit over the years. His eyes then flash gold, confirming it. This is not their first meeting. He knew this guy before he was reincarnated. This old man and Dan are both floored, realizing Cao Yuan is the reincarnation of some guy named Jiang Xian. In a flashback, the original Jiang Xian is asked to lend his body to save humanity, a totally normal, not at all shady request. But his past self immediately calls BS, realizing this was just a plot to steal his body all along. Snapping back to reality, Cao Yuan gets yanked backward by Dan's hair as she yells at him to stop. She gets right in his face, demanding to know what the heck he just saw in that vision. Our boy just ignores her, declaring he is off to the monster competition to find Yinaming. He tries to break up with her, but she just instantly replies, "Cool, I am coming with you," zero hesitation. Cao Yuan's brain completely short-circuits at this response, leaving him utterly confused. Dan narrows her eyes, convinced his weird behavior has something to do with another woman. Meanwhile, the tiny tiger asks the old man about Jiang Xian, but gets grilled about why he attacked Dan instead. A mysterious voice calls out to the tiger, whose tiny form is apparently not his default setting. This poor little guy explains he's been sealed by Dan, which is why he is stuck in fun-size mode. His shadowy master just calls him useless and decides to break the seal himself. While Cao Yuan and Dan are busy having a lover's spat, the old man looks on like a stressed-out dad. And just like that, the tiny tiger transforms into a massive, raging beast, looming over them both. Cao Yuan freaks out, asking Dan how the seal she put on him just broke. This old turtleman steps in, telling the kids to run along while he deals with the giant angry cat. He is absolutely furious, seeing a divine beast enslaved by a demon as a total disgrace. Elsewhere, a winged demon lord on a throne sends two of his minions on a mission with a special seal. One of his loyal subordinates bows, accepting the order without question. One of the demon lord's minions grips a fancy seal, ready for his new assignment. He orders a massive pig man named Zhu Gangbin to head to the monster territory. Meanwhile, a hooded figure reveals their target, a little silver wolf with a phoenix mark. Cut to a massive tournament arena where someone's already been knocked flat on their back. Some poor cat guy gets absolutely launched into the air, his fighting career ending mid-scream. A silver-haired wolf girl stands unimpressed, having just won her 5th straight match. This must be Yinaming. She thinks to herself that this little wolf is quite the troublemaker, a total understatement. But her victory lap is cut short when Zhu Gangbin, the pig man, steps up to challenge her. Yineming just watches him approach, probably wondering why the final boss showed up so early. He towers over her, noting he has never seen anyone from her clan in this region before. She just hopes he can at least give her a decent fight, which is some serious foreshadowing. And then a single drop of blood hits the ground, followed by a whole lot more. This pig man is just patting her on the head, condescendingly asking if that is all she has got. He grabs her by the hair, disappointed that the one sent by the phoenix is so weak. With a single backhand, he sends her flying across the entire arena like a ragdoll. This guy is completely bored now, complaining that the fight was not even fun. Lying defeated, she can only listen as he gives the order to just kill everyone here. His eyes gleam with malice, making it very clear he is about to start a massacre. This crowd of beast people absolutely panics, unable to believe what they just heard. And watching from the back is that same hooded figure, observing their plan unfold perfectly. This hooded observer smirks, clearly enjoying the absolute chaos they have orchestrated. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan is sprinting through the woods when his system detects a massive energy spike nearby. His system warns him about a monster-taming genius whose power is off the charts, strongly advising an immediate retreat. But our boy completely ignores that very sensible advice, launching himself straight towards the danger zone. He lands just in time to catch Yineming, saving her from a nasty fall right in front of the pig man. In a classic hero moment, he's got her cradled in his arms, looking all dramatic and stuff. Yineming is completely stunned, asking why the heck he even came back for her. She warns him to be careful since this new guy is seriously strong, but Cao Yuan just looks determined. With a death glare, he declares that no one gets away with hurting Yineming on his watch. And just like that, he summons a massive sword made of pure, crackling ice energy. His grip tightens on the hilt, ready to unleash some serious, well-deserved pain. Our boy challenges the pig man to face the brand new sword technique he has been working on. Zhu Gangbin just scoffs, dismissing the whole impressive display as nothing more than a cheap trick. But Cao Yuan's eyes are blazing with focus, completely locked on his target. He unleashes a powerful attack called Invisible Elephant, sending a huge wave of energy forward. Watching from the sidelines, Yineming is shocked, recognizing it as a human clan's technique. Cao Yuan explains he has even upgraded it with an ice effect for extra damage because why not? This pig man looks more annoyed than hurt, his wrist glowing as he curses under his breath. He taunts Cao Yuan, asking if he really thought that would work, but our boy just smirks back. In a flash, Cao Yuan zips right past him, landing a clean hit that draws first blood. Cao Yuan's ice attack is clearly hurting him too, but he is pushing through the pain. This pig man just smirks, feeling the same frostbite but not taking the threat seriously at all. Watching from the side, Yineming realizes the frost is a double-edged sword and he cannot last. Zhu Gangbin mocks him, pointing out that our boy's movements are getting sluggish from the cold. But Cao Yuan just gives a smug little grin as his system analyzes the damage and builds resistance. He was just baiting the guy into a drawn-out fight while his body adapted, a classic long con. This pig man is completely stunned, realizing the frost is now spreading all over him instead. Leaping into the air, Cao Yuan flips the script, calling his opponent the slow one now. This silhouette tells the whole story. A giant beast is about to get absolutely dismantled. With a clean strike, he drives his ice sword right into the pig man's back, calling him careless. His foot lands as the massive opponent finally hits the floor with a thud. Cao Yuan then points at the hooded observer, declaring this is payback for what they did to Yineming. From the shadows, the hooded mastermind admits they might have underestimated him. But just then, Yineming screams for him to watch his back. Our boy turns around, completely caught off guard by the sudden warning, and the hooded villain is right there, cackling that it is way too late for that. A blast of purple energy hits Cao Yuan from behind in a total cheap shot. His system gets completely scrambled by the unknown energy, leaving him wide open. Yineming is having none of it, charging in with a furious roar to let him go. She lands a brutal kick, sending the hooded attacker flying across the arena. Yineming lands a perfect kick, sending the hooded cheap shot artist flying across the arena. This now unhooded villain looks annoyed, muttering that he completely forgot about her. Rushing to his side, Yineming asks if Cao Yuan is okay while he is just trying to reboot his brain. This guy gloats that he has sealed Cao Yuan's system and skills, calling him trash. Total villain monologue 101. Cao Yuan is completely floored, demanding to know how this dude knows about his system and transmigration. With purple energy crackling, the villain just says dead men do not need answers. But our boy gets up with a smirk, asking if he really thinks that is all he has got. His hands suddenly start glowing with a completely different, vibrant green energy. A massive root erupts from the ground, snaking around the villain's leg in an instant. This bad guy is completely caught off guard as vines wrap around his entire body. From atop a giant tree, Cao Yuan reveals the seal only blocked his borrowed magic, not his true grass essence power. Yineming screams for him to stop, warning that using his spiritual body will drain his life force. Ignoring her completely, Cao Yuan declares it is not over and starts weaving a new fiery spell. He unleashes a swirling vortex of pure flame right at his trapped opponent. Yineming recognizes the magic circle. It is from the Phoenix's forest, which is a pretty big deal, and the villain can only scream as he gets absolutely incinerated by the attack. Breathing heavily, Cao Yuan thinks it is finally over, his hand now bleeding from the strain. Yineming rushes over to check on him, but he just waves her off, trying to act tough. She points out his hand as a mess, but he insists it is just a minor burn, sure buddy. So she just takes his hand and starts licking the wound clean, which is one way to handle first aid. Cao Yuan is completely flustered by this, but she just explains it is how wolves clean wounds, totally normal. Changing the subject, she casually asks where Dan is since they were traveling together. He glances back, remembering Dan walking away from him in a field, and then he just straight up tells Yineming they broke up because Dan was being followed. Their little moment is cut short by the villain they just incinerated, who is mocking their timing for romance. Both of them are completely floored, realizing the guy is standing there without a single burn. This villain just smirks, pretending he did not see a thing. Cao Yuan is in total disbelief, unable to process how anyone could survive that attack. This guy explains he can just absorb energy and turn it into a defensive shield, which is just great. In the very next instant, that shield turns into a massive energy blade aimed right at Cao Yuan. This attack lands perfectly, impaling our boy straight through the chest. Yineming can only scream his name in absolute horror. With a casual flick, the villain sends her flying across the arena too. He stands over her defeated form, gloating that he has just destroyed her only hope. All she can do is let out a scream of pure anguish. This absolute monster just laughs, calling their desperate struggle beautiful. He then declares that his monster-taming clan will now rule over all other monsters. This crowd of beast people starts to panic, realizing Yineming and her powerful ally are both down. As the villain basks in his victory, everyone starts scrambling to escape the coming massacre. But his triumph is interrupted by a sudden blush as he wonders what kind of trick this is. This villain's victory speech is cut short by a sudden blush, making him wonder what kind of weird spell this is. He turns around, his expression souring as he realizes what is going on. A new green-eyed kid stands there with two blindfolded bodyguards, looking way too confident for the situation. This villain seems surprised, noting that this kid apparently knows the same trick as him. And just like that, the new kid system gives him an ultimatum: capture the villain in 300 seconds or get deleted. A single drop of some kind of essence falls, signaling the start of his desperate plan. This kid and his two minions charge in from all sides, trying to swarm the main boss. But the villain just casually dismisses their attack with a wave of purple energy, calling it completely useless. With one of the minions down, he taunts the kid, saying his system is about to run out of time. This kid's eyes widen in panic as the countdown hits 0 and his system prepares to erase him. Whoops. As punishment for failing the mission, he starts coughing up a horrifying amount of blood. This villain looms over him, calling him an ant who cannot possibly understand his grand plan for monster domination. He then reveals the big secret. He knows about the kid's system because his own is just on a whole other level. This new guy is completely stunned, asking the one question on everyone's mind: is the villain a transmigrator too? This villain just scoffs, saying the kid's system is a cheap copy while his is a legacy that can kill immortals. Putting the pieces together, the kid asks if that system is why his entire clan became monsters. He struggles to his feet, demanding to know what the villain's ultimate goal is. In a classic villain monologue, the guy reveals his system's mission is to help humanity, and if he fails, his clan dies. But if he succeeds, his clan gets to become immortal and he will be worshipped by the gods. No pressure, right? This kid calls him a delusional idiot for that, earning himself a brutal backhand for his honesty. Despite the beatdown, the kid unleashes a dragon's grip, trapping the villain in a swirl of energy. This villain is completely stunned, demanding to know how his victim is even moving, let alone fighting. A single glowing drop of essence falls from the kid's hand onto the tiled floor. It splashes, sending out ripples that are clearly the start of a whole new kind of trap. This villain realizes he's been caught in an illusion just as the kid gets right in his face. Our new guy smirks, explaining his time distortion trick worked. 100 years inside is a second outside. He admits he cannot win a straight fight, but he can definitely trap the villain in this pocket dimension for centuries. Now surrounded by mist, the kid declares that in here he is the one with the power to end this. But he is also a little confused, wondering why his own system even allowed him to use that move. Just then, a mysterious white-haired person appears out of nowhere, startling him completely. This newcomer just smiles, promising to explain everything after the kid finishes his life-or-death struggle. As the spectral figure fades away, they offer to help if things get too difficult, which is not reassuring at all. Turning back to his opponent, the kid faces the villain, who is laughing at his space-time control trick. This villain's face suddenly ages, realizing the kid's genius plan is to just let him die of old age in here. With a smug little grin, the kid compliments him for finally figuring out the very obvious trap. This old villain then reveals he sent someone named Lang Yan to subdue two powerful beasts, expecting their return. This news completely floors the kid, who demands to know when Lang Yan became the villain's pawn. And right on cue, Lang Yan appears as the villain gloats about lending them power to create chaos. Lang Yan looks completely vacant, obviously under some kind of powerful mind control. But the kid holds his ground, declaring that even a brainwashed Lang Yan is no match for those two legends. This now ancient villain proposes a little wager on whose side is stronger, and the kid's eyes narrow, ready to bet on his allies against the villain's brainwashed puppets. We flash back to see Lang Yan with a red-haired woman, confirming his mission was a success. He gloats that with his clan's power-up, even capturing a legendary phoenix was a piece of cake. And there she is, bowing in defeat next to another captured, bald-headed master. Back in the present, the kid stands alone as Lang Yan tells him to get ready to die. This cat-eared guy looks way too excited for this fight, a nasty smirk on his face. He lunges forward, screaming that this is revenge for the kid stealing Yineming from him. Oh, it is personal. Our boy is completely caught off guard by the sudden, furious assault. And he gets knocked to his knees, clearly outmatched in this surprise attack. This villain then interferes, wrapping the kid in purple energy and weakening his control. With a smug look, the old man declares victory, holding a ball of crackling power. But the kid just smirks back, calling him overconfident for an old geezer. That earns him a brutal chokehold from Lang Yan, who is clearly not amused. He gets slammed face first into the ground, completely overpowered for the moment. A massive white tiger man appears, asking why the illusion is still active. Standing over the kid's defeated body, they both agree it is time to just kill him. Lang Yan calls him a nuisance, having given up on finding any use for him. But our boy starts breaking free, grinning maniacally and vowing to take them all down. This villain just scoffs from the sidelines, wondering what tricks he could possibly have left. Out of options, the kid calls on someone named Jiang Xian, asking to borrow their power. And just like that, Jiang Xian appears, teasing him for calling so soon and pointing out they share a body. This new guy smirks, clarifying the power-up will only boost one of his abilities, not a total fix. Our boy just smirks back, confidently saying that is more than enough to get the job done. As Jiang Xian's spirit form floats above, he basically tells the kid to put on a good show. In an instant, massive green roots erupt from the ground, tearing up the entire illusion space. Lang Yan is completely blindsided, demanding to know what this new plant-based nonsense is. This roots just keeps sprouting, snaking around Lang Yan and his Tigerman buddy. Even the ancient villain gets tangled up, looking more annoyed than actually threatened by the greenery. His Tigerman buddy recognizes the move as a legendary grass monster healing technique, an odd choice for combat. At the center of it all, our boy is just radiating this intense, life-giving green energy. Meanwhile, the old villain is losing his patience, wondering why the illusion is still up and what his minions are doing. His panic spikes as his ancient body starts to literally crumble apart inside the time-distorted space. Our boy casually explains his healing technique means he is perfectly fine, the villain not so much. Completely desperate now, the old man screams to be let out before his soul gives out. Our boy calmly informs him that he is about to be erased for all his life's terrible choices. This old man completely loses it, screaming that he is the child of destiny and cannot die here, classic villain meltdown. As his face literally cracks apart, he spits out one last insult, calling our hero a bastard. In response, our boy just lets out a quiet little chuckle, totally unbothered. Standing over the villain's fading dust, he tells him to go reflect on his sins in hell. And just like that, the illusion shatters and our boy's eyes snap open. He finds himself back on the arena floor, the illusion's vines finally gone. Now sitting up, he smirks, ready to deal with the two remaining lackeys. Meanwhile, Lang Yan and his tiger buddy are just standing there, completely clueless about what to do next. This tiger man tells him to grab their prisoners and retreat, which earns a frustrated curse from Lang Yan. Our boy yells across the arena, telling them to leave their captives behind if they want to run. Ignoring him completely, they just grab their prisoners and make a break for it, so much for a fight. Unfortunately, he is totally drained, admitting he does not have the strength left to pursue them. Then it hits him, he completely forgot about Yinaming and all the chaos. He spots her lying unconscious on the broken tiles and immediately rushes to her side. Up close, she is just unconscious, thankfully without any new gaping chest wounds. He scoops her up, absolutely relieved to find that she is still breathing. His face hardens as he remembers the rules. This is not over until all the monsters are on his side. And right on cue, a group of monsters calls out that even though he won, they do not accept him. A red-horned guy clarifies the rule: the only true king is the one who survives to the very end. While he is holding Yinaming, a voice off-screen tells him to put her down. Looking up, he calls the guy out for not fighting earlier, asking if he was just too scared. This red-horned guy just smirks, explaining that being smart enough to wait is also a kind of power. Our boy knows he is in deep trouble. He has got no mana left and is completely vulnerable. With no other options, he throws his hands up in surrender, asking if they will let him go now. Yeah, right. This red-horned monster and his crew surround our boy, smugly pointing out they are not dumb enough to let him recover. With a unified cry, the whole gang charges forward to finish him off while he is weak. But a blur of white cloth suddenly flashes across the arena floor. A new swordsman appears in a swirl of purple energy, effortlessly deflecting their attack and demanding to know who they are. This guy then calls out for the new monster leader to show themselves, sword at the ready. This monsters completely freak out, recognizing him as Zhou Yu, a legendary human hero. Whoops, wrong side. Zhou Yu's gaze is ice cold, offering them a simple choice: answer him or meet his blade. In a brilliant display of cowardice, they all immediately point at our MC, declaring he is the new leader. Our boy is absolutely livid that they folded so fast, while Zhou Yu just stands there completely unimpressed. He furiously calls them out for having zero dignity as monsters, which is honestly a very fair point. Zhou Yu informs our newly crowned leader that he is being escorted to the Sage Master's city, like it or not. When our boy hesitates, Zhou Yu just points his sword at him, clarifying this is not a negotiation. Jiang Xian's spirit pops up, amused by the situation and reminding our boy about that Sage Master he woke up. Thinking fast, our guy agrees to go, but only after he gets his injured wife Yinaming some medical attention. Surprisingly, Zhou Yu agrees, mentioning he knows a great healing spot, a natural hot spring. And just like that, they are at a picturesque, sparkling waterfall with some serious healing spa vibes. Yinaming's golden eyes flutter open as she slowly regains consciousness in the warm water. She sits up, completely bewildered and wrapped in a towel, wondering where in the world she is. Her hands move through the water, maybe just checking to see if she is dreaming, until our boy's head pops up right in front of her, scaring her half to death. So much for a peaceful recovery. This towel slips at the worst possible moment, giving our boy a full, unfiltered view of Yinaming. His brain completely short-circuits, leaving him a flustered, blushing mess in the water. Her eyes turn into literal spaghetti swirls of panic as she tries to process the situation. She immediately starts screaming about perverts while he desperately tries to explain this is strictly medicinal. While she is threatening to dismember him for peeking, he just calmly asks her to lift her hair to help the healing. Grumbling, she actually complies, tying her hair up so he can get to work. In the middle of the spring, he holds her close, channeling the healing energy through the water. Once the panic subsides, she finally asks him what exactly went down while she was unconscious. Our boy just sighs, admitting it is a long story, which is the understatement of the year. Then a far more important question hits her: who was the one who undressed her to get her in here? His composure completely shatters again, leaving him pointing at himself and stammering like a fool. Nearby, their chaperone Jo-Yu is just stewing, wondering what these two idiots are doing. His face just screams, "I am not getting paid enough to babysit this teenage drama." His gaze then shifts to a strange box on the rocks, wondering what its purpose could be. Finally out of the water and dressed, they rush over to Jo-Yu, apologizing for the delay. Getting back on track, our boy asks why the sage master is so interested in meeting him anyway. Jo-Yu explains there is a sorcerer in the forest with monster clan ties, and that monster he killed was their young master. Our boy's priorities are, as always, perfectly straight. He immediately asks if the sorcerer is pretty, earning a side-eye from Yinaming. Jo-Yu, absolute menace that he is, smirks and says she is even prettier than the little wolf girl next to him. But the banter cuts short as his eyes flash, sensing a presence and drawing his sword instantly. Jo-Yu immediately clashes with a mysterious, elf-feared woman in the forest. This new sorcerer just smirks, asking why he cannot be a little more gentle. He is not playing games, demanding to know exactly who she is. She strikes a pose, confirming she is the sorcerer they have been looking for, and she knows it. Then she gets real flirty, making a not-so-subtle joke about his hard sword. And our boy Cao Yuan pops out from behind a tree to shoot his shot because of course he does. Yinaming immediately yanks him back by the face, calling him out for being a total pervert. This sorcerer gets right in Cao Yuan's face, clearly amused by this little brother. In a flash, she's got him pinned to a tree, telling him he is not her type at all. Trying to regain some dignity, he introduces himself as Cao Yuan, the new leader of the monsters. He then unleashes a massive frost breath attack, trying to trap her in a vortex of ice. But she is completely unimpressed, encased in ice, and basically asking, "Is that all you got?" Cao Yuan puts on this whole evil act, looming over Yinaming to try and intimidate the sorcerer, a questionable tactic. While he is distracted, Jo-Yu appears behind the sorcerer with his blade at her throat. She just smiles, saying she was just saying hi and will be on her way now, zero fear. And poof, she vanishes, leaving behind an ice clone as our boy just stares in shock. Jo-Yu is absolutely furious that she managed to slip away so easily. Cao Yuan, meanwhile, is just scratching his head like, "Well, she is gone, what is the big deal?" This big deal, Jo-Yu explains, is that she stole the box with the monster master's medallion in it. Miles away, the sorcerer floats under the moon, musing about our grass essence hero and promising they will meet again. Cao Yuan questions why the medallion is so vital, and Jo-Yu just says he is following the sage master's orders. Grumbling about the hassle, Jo-Yu decides he has to go chase the sorcerer down himself. But as he turns to leave, Cao Yuan calls out, asking if he is forgetting someone important. Our boy hits him with a sparkly, confident grin, basically volunteering for the mission, whether he was invited or not. Elsewhere, the sorcerer examines the ice clone she used to escape, the stolen box now in her possession. She smirks, admitting the little boy was surprisingly clever to pull off a trick like that. With a surge of purple energy, she decides it is time to stop playing and teach them a real lesson. Back on a snowy peak, Yinaming calls out to Cao Yuan as he stares grimly into the distance. She nervously asks if they really need to get involved in what seems like someone else's fight. Cao Yuan gets all serious, declaring that in a chaotic world, he has responsibilities he cannot just ignore. This just makes Yinaming more worried, reminding him he is just putting himself in more danger. Watching from afar, the sorcerer finds the whole young couple worrying about each other incredibly amusing. This two of them have a tense moment, clearly disagreeing on the whole "let us be heroes" plan. And just then the sorcerer appears, condescendingly telling them this would not be happening if they'd just been obedient. Her smile is pure venom as she promises she will not be letting them get away so easily this time. Cao Yuan immediately attacks with a wolf claw, while she taunts him about his friends hiding for an ambush. His attack is completely nullified by a purple energy shield, leaving him totally shocked. A massive blast of power sends both him and a panicked Yinaming flying across the ground. This sorcerer then issues an ultimatum, threatening to kill them both if their hidden ally does not show himself. In a quick flashback, Yinaming grabs his arm worriedly, but he just smirks, confident he knows who they are after. This sorcerer is completely baffled by whatever just happened, and it is because Cao Yuan is cheerfully waving a surrender flag, claiming he has already spilled all the beans. Furious, she powers up, vowing to make him pay for tricking her so many times. Her eyes glow with purple energy as she unleashes her full power. A massive magical explosion rips through the forest, showing she is absolutely done playing games. But then she realizes Jo-Yu is on the move and she has to stop him from reaching a certain body. Facing our heroes from a distance, she asks if they really think this little delay will accomplish anything. She smirks, confidently stating that a little distance like this means nothing to her. To prove her point, she sprouts a massive pair of dark wings, ready for a quick getaway. With a powerful flap, she soars into the sky, leaving the two of them far below. She promises to find Cao Yuan later, right after she deals with her other, more pressing business. With her gone, Cao Yuan tells Yineming it is time to investigate the monster master's body for secrets. Yineming immediately asks about his injured hand, remembering his powerful self-healing abilities. He shows off the skeletal arm, admitting that while it is draining, the injury can still be healed. And in a brilliant flash of light, his hand is completely restored to normal. Now fully healed, he is ready to uncover whatever secrets are hidden in the monster master's body. This entire convoluted plan just leaves Yineming completely and utterly confused. Cao Yuan peeks over the edge of a large box, a sly look on his face as he gets to work. Inside is Zhou Yu lying unconscious. Wait, was not he supposed to be chasing the sorcerer? Our boy just smirks, coolly explaining that this was just another one of his tricks. Zhou Yu's looking around, clearly impatient, like he's got better things to do than babysit. He tells Cao Yuan that they are not here to trick anyone and he will grab the box and leave. Cao Yuan, chilling under a tree, says they are partners and he should trust him. Zhou Yu's face is all seriously, as Cao Yuan explains they cannot fool the sorcerer for long. He then drops the bombshell that he never expected monsters to be so smart. Cao Yuan dismisses it, saying it is not worth mentioning and they should just go. Zhou Yu's expression shifts, asking if he's going to fight him after surrendering. Cao Yuan just gives a cheeky grin, saying see you later, and waves goodbye. He is totally baffled, wondering if this guy's brain is actually working. Cao Yuan then explains that this is a holy transformation, a solution for the dark system. He is trying to get the sorcerer's powers, which is apparently a vital mission. This sorcerer's hands glow, detecting the dark system owner's vital signs. Cao Yuan asks if he can absorb the abilities of the previous monster master. He is told no, but he can choose a reward from the hidden mission. Then he is suddenly surrounded by a blue energy vortex, looking shocked. He is yelling "Wah" as the energy crackles around him. His eyes glow intensely as the blue light intensifies. He is standing in the center of a magical circle holding a sword. Wow, this is great, he exclaims. The world has a weapon system, but he admits he likes hiding it more than using it. Yineming is completely lost, demanding to know what just happened with that whole power-up light show. He is still processing the change, realizing that strange new energy in his body is definitely real. With his new power coursing through him, he is suddenly all fired up to go rescue Zhou Yu. This sudden change in plans just leaves Yineming with a face full of question marks. She immediately grabs him, yelling about how they just escaped and now he wants to go back to die. Our boy just gives her a classic smirk, promising he's got a brand new foolproof strategy. Elsewhere, Zhou Yu is just vibing, meditating peacefully on top of that box he was supposed to be guarding. But he is on a timer, knowing the sorcerer is closing in fast while he is still recovering his energy. Deciding he cannot wait any longer, he stands up, ready to deal with the sorcerer himself. From a cliffside, the sorcerer taunts him from afar, offering a chance to surrender if she is in a good mood. Zhou Yu is having none of it, basically telling her to come and get him. She just scoffs at his arrogance, her hand already crackling with dark energy. And suddenly, a skeletal hand erupts from the ground right in front of him. It is a full-on skeleton army, summoned from the earth to completely surround him. This sorcerer watches on with a smug little smile, clearly enjoying her handiwork. Unfazed, Zhou Yu pulls out a glowing artifact, a symbol of unwavering courage. This skeletal minions immediately charge, one with a dagger and the other ready to brawl. He just roars, declaring he will fight through thousands of them if he has to. In a flash of blue light, he unleashes a whirlwind attack that shatters the charging skeletons. But the sorcerer looks completely unimpressed as his blade stops just shy of her face. This sorcerer just scoffs, clearly unimpressed by his little display of defiance. Then she absolutely loses it, screaming for her minions to swarm him all at once. Channeling a surge of dark energy, she is putting some serious power behind that order. And just like that, a massive horde of skeletons erupts from the ground to overwhelm him. But a surprise frost breath attack suddenly rips through the battlefield. This icy vortex instantly shatters her bony soldiers into a million pieces. Zhou Yu is completely stunned, immediately recognizing that very familiar technique. And of course, Cao Yuan makes his grand entrance, apologizing for being fashionably late. When asked what he is doing, our boy just says he could not leave his brother in a jam. He flashes that classic smug grin, acting like they are the best of friends. Zhou Yu's response is ice cold, flatly stating he never considered them allies at all. Surrounded on all sides, they stand back to back, agreeing to argue after they survive this mess. With a flash of his glowing blade, Zhou Yu effortlessly slices through an advancing skeleton. Cao Yuan, looking a bit winded, grits his teeth and declares this is the last of them. His reluctant partner seems to agree, looking just as battered but still ready to fight. After the battle, the ground is littered with shattered bones, a total victory for the duo. Elsewhere, the sorcerer arrives at the ambush spot, wondering where the coffin has gone. Realizing she has been tricked again, she starts trying to figure out where they hid it. She conjures a dark scrying orb, using its scope reaction to scan the area for her prize. And her magic leads her right to a massive forked tree, the perfect hiding spot. In a totally different forest, Cao Yuan and a new purple-robed guy spot an elf-feared woman zeroing in on a target. This new guy immediately panics, realizing she has found the very thing they were after. He tries to use a flying sword technique to stop whatever is about to happen. But Cao Yuan decides diplomacy is overrated and just opts to destroy the objective himself. With a massive fire spell, he unleashes an explosion meant to incinerate everything in the area. This brilliant move leaves both the woman and her companion completely speechless with rage. His fiery Zunli array engulfs the target, leaving no room for negotiation. This elf-feared woman can only scream no, as their prize goes up in flames. She floats back, watching the smoldering crater where their objective used to be. A quick flashback shows her looking at her companion in utter disbelief during some past event. In that memory, he was performing a burning ritual, declaring it was the very last one. She had pleaded with him to stop, her face a mask of desperation. This purple-robed man seemed to be in agony, questioning what she was even thinking, and her expression just hardens into pure, undiluted fury at the memory. Back in the present, Cao Yuan stands before the woman, looking entirely too pleased with himself. She wastes no time, grabbing our boy by the throat and calling him a bastard. Her eyes glow with rage as she asks if he has any idea what he has just done. While being choked, he just smirks, suggesting she can probably find what she needs in the ashes. This actually makes her pause, realizing his insane logic might just be the key to her mission. Having made his point, Cao Yuan gets promptly yeeted to the ground for his troubles. As she walks away, promising to deal with him later, Cao Yuan is left eating dirt. This purple-robed guy is absolutely furious, demanding to know why he destroyed their objective. Cao Yuan, ever the strategist, just says they cannot beat her, so running is the only option. Back in the clearing, the elf-feared woman stands alone amidst the total devastation. She stares at the smoldering wasteland where her prize used to be. Her expression is one of pure, unadulterated shock as the reality of her failure sinks in. This, of course, immediately transitions into a full-blown maniacal breakdown laugh. After her moment, she soberly admits that her entire mission is a complete failure. Meanwhile, his companion tries to make a run for it, but Cao Yuan stops him for an explanation. Our boy insists they need to escape first and can argue about the details later. But a purple magic seal suddenly materializes right behind him, catching him completely off guard. A beam of energy erupts from it, impaling him straight through the chest. He looks up in agony, clearly not having factored this into his grand escape plan. This elf-feared woman is the attacker, claiming he forced her hand when she did not want to kill him. With a cold stare, she points, making it clear this is all his fault. His companion absolutely loses it, calling her crazy as he draws his glowing sword. He lunges forward in a desperate, furious attack to avenge his partner. She just scoffs, telling him he clearly does not understand the power gap between them, and then she casually stops his glowing blade with her bare hand just to rub it in. This guy's face is pure shock, finally understanding he is completely and utterly outmatched. She is completely baffled, wondering how he is still standing after she put a hole through his chest. Our boy just stands there, basically daring her to try that again if she wants revenge. Her mind races, realizing he is some kind of spirit grass essence with insane healing powers. Even Cao Yuan is confused, admitting his own healing abilities should not be this broken. So she powers up, summoning magical stars and promising to show him what a real attack looks like. With a furious glare, she vows to make him feel the full force of her chain attack. Purple energy tendrils immediately shoot out, aiming to ensnare him completely. He just plants his feet, bracing for whatever she is about to throw at him. This energy whips wrap around him, yanking him right off the ground. Gritting his teeth, he admits this is probably going to hurt a little. As he is dragged through the air, he yells up at her, asking who is really tougher now. She just scoffs, calling him a brat while charging up a nasty-looking energy ball. But then he is suddenly right in her face, grabbing her as her magic starts to fizzle out. She is in total shock, feeling all her power just vanish into thin air. A massive burst of purple light erupts as he seemingly nullifies her entire spell. This somehow ends with his face buried in her chest, much to her vocal dismay. Our boy, of course, just smirks and makes a cheeky comment about how bigger is better. A quick flash shows a different woman with cat ears, maybe a transformation or alter ego. Back in reality, the elf-feared woman is blushing and absolutely losing her mind, and with a final furious scream, she yeets him into the stratosphere. Mission accomplished, I guess. Cao Yuan makes a graceful landing after being yeeted, face first into the dirt, of course. This elf-feared woman is absolutely fuming, pissed that he dared to take advantage of the situation. But then she realizes her magic is suddenly back, leaving her totally confused about what just happened. She notices a strange new scent on her hand, trying to piece together the source of this power restoration, and her train of thought is immediately derailed by someone else arriving on the scene. With a furious blush, she vows to figure out his secret and make him pay for that little stunt. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan is just dramatically celebrating the fact that he is still breathing. He is genuinely shocked that she just up and left instead of finishing the job. Sitting down, he starts to investigate a weird feeling in his body connected to his spiritual power. Turns out there is a legendary golden bow hidden inside him, designed to amplify his abilities. Its healing is so broken that the only way to stop it is intimate physical contact. His purple-robed companion interrupts, saying he was tracking that very power signature right to him. Suddenly, a mysterious hooded person shows up, and the guy immediately calls them Sage Master. This newcomer greets Cao Yuan, addressing him as the leader of the monster race. Our boy just laughs it off, saying the title is a bit much to his companion's annoyance. But Cao Yuan's smile fades as he recognizes a familiar scent from the hooded stranger. He gets right in their face, calling them out for hiding their identity while everyone else is exposed. This Sage Master is clearly not amused by his total lack of respect, so his buddy has to physically restrain him before he gets them both killed. Then the hood drops, revealing a white-haired woman who says they need his help against the demon race. This Sage Master gets straight to business, announcing it is time for them to have a talk. But she pauses with a sharp look, adding a condition that hangs heavy in the air. Her companion immediately summons a throne for her total suck-up move while she threatens him. Cao Yuan cuts in, demanding to know the actual origin of the so-called demon race. She explains their source is a mystery, they are just mindless beasts that attack humans. Then she pivots, asking if he will give her the info she wants about Joyu's monster connection. Our boy just flashes a huge, innocent smile, cheekily asking how she got her intel in the first place. Her patience completely evaporates, her expression turning absolutely murderous in a split second. A terrifying shadow version of her threatens to get answers the hard way if he does not start talking. Back in reality, she just coolly says she will have to persuade him to confess real subtle. He keeps up the act, asking what exactly she wants him to do with that sweet, harmless face. She proposes a bet. She wants to see how he'd fight the demons by forming a monster race suicide squad. Cao Yuan is completely lost, repeating the term suicide squad like it is a foreign language. With a smug look, she clarifies that he will lead his people into a high-risk battle for her amusement, and suddenly it all clicks for him, a huge "I get it" moment lighting up his entire face. She's already picturing herself as a general, flag in hand, leading the charge from the safety of the rear. In response, Cao Yuan summons his legendary golden bow, looking ready to accept the challenge. His mind immediately jumps to this grand, historic meeting between leaders. What a total dork. But she cuts his daydream short, asking why the monster race has to be the ones to die first. Her logic is ice cold. Monsters reproduce faster, so their deaths are just an acceptable numbers game. Cao Yuan tries to follow her logic, which basically boils down to monsters being perfect cannon fodder. She smugly agrees, saying the weak are destined to be sacrificed for the greater good. With a huge grin, he points right back, declaring that only humans can shoulder this burden then. Our boy just turned her entire argument around on her, and she is not having it. Lightning literally crackles around her as she realizes he just played her with her own logic. Completely flustered, she turns to her companion Joyu for some immediate backup. A single, sharp glance from the Sage Master is all it takes for him to get the message. Cao Yuan is completely blindsided, demanding to know what they are planning now, and her brilliant plan is to just tie him up, with Joyu immediately obeying the order. Next thing he knows, he is tied to a tree, yelling that this is not what they agreed to. He is absolutely furious, demanding to know if this is how she treats her supposed allies. Joyu just tells him to shut it, since the Sage Master has her own plans for him. This Sage Master just stands there whistling, looking entirely too pleased with her hostage situation. Then she gets right in his personal space, lifting his chin like she owns the place. She muses about what use killing him would even be, which shocks him so much his monster ears pop out. Her plan apparently is that a natural monster encounter will make him a more reasonable leader. Suddenly, he remembers the Yao body is still on him and he starts to panic. That gets her attention real fast, and she grabs him, demanding he tell her where it is. Joyu immediately calls him a liar, insisting he personally saw Cao Yuan incinerate it. But our boy reveals the ultimate switcheroo. He only burned the empty box and hid the real prize. This Sage Master's patience is gone, threatening to crush his skull if he is lying about the prize. Under immense pressure, Cao Yuan is just sweating with this weirdly smug look on his face. A sudden system alert flashes, warning of a massive shockwave rapidly approaching. This interruption startles both of them, completely derailing the whole interrogation vibe. Looking up, she spots a massive purple energy beam tearing across the sky. It slams into a nearby cliffside, erupting in a massive explosion of rock and debris. This resulting shockwave sends both Cao Yuan and Joyu tumbling through the air. Joyu manages to land on his feet, bracing himself against the lingering energy waves. His eyes widen in recognition. He knows this power belongs to a sorcerer. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan hits the ground, and the impact conveniently starts to loosen his ropes. A glint in his eye reveals the exact moment he realizes the ropes have come undone, and the attacker reveals herself, a dark-haired, elf-feared woman with a seriously sinister grin. This Sage Master clearly knows this woman, vowing that this time she will not get away. This newcomer just scoffs, completely unimpressed by the threat. With a brilliant flash of light, the Sage Master blasts her rival right out of the sky. A pillar of purple energy slams down, pinning the dark-haired woman to the ground in a massive crater. This Sage Master lands gracefully as her opponent struggles to get up, clearly defeated for now. She tells her opponent to just give up, admitting she is still pretty strong, all things considered. Off to the side, a very confused Cao Yuan is just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But the new woman looks right at him, revealing she heard his entire bluff about the hidden prize. This Sage Master tells her rival to just forget her little plans and prepare to be taken in. But the dark-haired woman just smirks, saying her real opponent is not even her. At that moment, a massive, monstrous shadow falls over them both. The real threat has arrived. This new guy, a hulking beastman, offers to lend the sorcerer a helping hand. Completely blindsided, the Sage Master whips around, wondering where he even came from. Her loyal companion Joyu immediately leaps in to protect her, yelling her name, only to be stopped by the beastman, who calmly warns him not to interfere. Joyu is completely paralyzed by this strange red energy, totally outmatched by its power. Not one to be underestimated, the Sage Master launches herself into the fight with a furious kick. This beastman calmly introduces himself, here to mercifully kill the beautiful sorcerer. He unleashes a powerful energy blast that clashes violently with her own attack. This sheer force of his power sends her flying backwards across the battlefield. After a rough landing, she has to admit this guy is ridiculously tough. He looms over her, telling her to just surrender and accept his mercy, real generous of him. She fires back, asking what kind of mercy involves killing a defenseless woman. His justification is some twisted logic about freeing her from the suffering of existence. Absolutely disgusted by his nonsense, she just scoffs in his face. Then she explodes forward, launching a spinning kick while calling out his empty words. This kick connects with a massive burst of light, looking like a direct hit, but he just grabs her ankle mid-kick, stopping her cold like it was nothing. This beastman continues his whole mercy monologue, looking down on her with total contempt, and then he just casually tosses her aside with one hand like she is nothing. Completely done with his philosophical garbage, the Sage Master is ready to fight back. She whips out some kind of golden fan-like artifact which starts glowing with immense power. Declaring that monsters are unforgivable, she prepares to unleash a seriously big spell. This artifact transforms into a glowing tablet as she chants a forbidden mantra, and she screams out the name of her ultimate move, the 5 Thunder Punishment of Heaven. A massive column of divine lightning immediately crashes down from the sky. Meanwhile, Joyu smugly tells a shocked Cao Yuan that she's got plenty more moves like that. But the dark-haired sorcerer pops up between them, saying they are underestimating the real threat. She gives them a sly look, suggesting they settle their old scores right now. Back on the battlefield, the lightning hits its mark, kicking up a huge cloud of dust. But the Beastman emerges totally unscathed, now with 4 arms and still preaching about mercy. What a creep. This Sage Master is completely floored, realizing her ultimate attack was absolutely useless. He starts gathering this ominous red energy, calling it the Wrath of Mercy, because of course he does. This power forms into what he calls the shackles of mercy around his hands. With his hands together, he unleashes the liberation of mercy in a massive energy wave. This attack immediately ensnares the Sage Master, trapping her in glowing red tendrils. She is clearly struggling against the binds, gritting her teeth in total frustration. And a look of horror crosses her face as she feels her own power being suppressed. Seeing his master trapped, Joyu absolutely loses it, screaming that he is coming to save her. But the dark-haired sorcerer casually grabs his arm, stopping his heroic charge cold. She tells him to just wait a second, trying to prevent him from making a very dumb decision. Her logic is simple. Anyone hit by that liberation of mercy attack is guaranteed to die. So she asks if he is really just going to run in there and get himself killed for no reason. He is not having it, vowing he will not abandon his people and will deal with her later. With that, he just bolts toward the fight, leaving her standing there. She just smirks with this pitying look, thinking what a shame it is he is in such a hurry to die. Joyu charges forward anyway, screaming at the Beastman to stop his attack. This 4-armed monster just looks down on him, calling his entire race pathetic. A flaming sword attack comes flying in, aimed right at the monster's smug face. But the guy just puts up a massive energy shield, blocking the strike like it was a fly. Joyu is completely stunned, realizing his full power attack did absolutely nothing. And just then, Cao Yuan leaps into the frame, offering to lend a much-needed hand. Our boy immediately starts charging up his Wolf Claw move, ready to join the fray. Their combined attack actually shatters the shield in a massive explosion of light. This blast is just enough to break the shackles of mercy, freeing the Sage Master. Cao Yuan watches the aftermath, looking totally focused on their next move. For once, Joyu actually agrees to listen, telling Cao Yuan he will follow his lead. Meanwhile, the sorcerer watches from the sidelines, amused that her rival is still struggling. Joyu desperately blocks with his sword, trying to hold off the sorcerer's advance. But she just casually kicks him to the ground, not even breaking a sweat. Picking himself up, he realizes there is something seriously off about this woman's power. She has already written them off, only regretting she did not get the location of the prize first. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan scoops up the Sage Master and makes a mad dash for the trees. He glances back at the 4-armed beastman in pursuit, thinking he has figured out his weakness. Pouring on the speed, he uses some kind of movement technique to get away faster. Our boy is screaming his head off, pushing his body to its absolute limit to escape. He makes a desperate leap through the forest, still carrying his unconscious ally. Suddenly, the Sage Master wakes up, wrapping them both in lightning and telling him to get her airborne. Using his back as a launchpad, she stomps down hard to propel herself into the sky. At the same time, the beastman gets caught in some kind of whirlwind, also getting yanked upwards. Seeing his chance, Cao Yuan starts charging up a massive energy ball while the monster is distracted. He forms a crystal sword, muttering that after this, taking out the Sage Master will be a piece of cake. Joyu's jaw drops as he realizes Cao Yuan found a way to exploit the curse's weakness. This dark-haired sorcerer just smirks, calling him clever but still not clever enough to beat her. Cao Yuan explains his plan midair. The beastman's attack on Joyu revealed a fatal flaw. Looking down, the monster seems to be in serious pain, caught in some kind of binding spell. He roars in agony as purple energy constricts around him, completely vulnerable. And then a massive blast blows a hole clean through his chest, leaving Cao Yuan stunned. A grimace crosses Cao Yuan's face. He realizes the monster can just sprout more limbs. This memory of that liberation of mercy attack flashes through his mind. He feels the same oppressive energy that trapped the Sage Master, finally understanding the danger. Desperate, our boy yells at his system to find a way to pull out his hidden bow, and it actually works. This beastman is totally caught off guard as streaks of green energy suddenly erupt around him. With a legendary bow now in hand, Cao Yuan taunts the monster about his extra arms. He forms a glowing arrow, wondering aloud if 4 hands are enough to stop what is coming. A whole volley of energy arrows gets unleashed, screaming towards their target in the sky. This monster can only curse as the attack closes in, his smugness finally gone. These arrows connect in a massive aerial explosion, lighting up the entire battlefield. But he emerges from the smoke, crossing his arms and promising to liberate Cao Yuan next. What a broken record. Cao Yuan just smirks, telling the guy to check his six before making any big promises, and right on cue the Sage Master appears behind him, reminding him that monsters do not get a pass. This beast man looks absolutely horrified, realizing he has walked right into a pincer attack. She unleashes her 5 thunder punishment again, wrapping herself in divine, crackling energy. Down below, the dark-haired sorcerer cannot believe her rival is this strong, forced to just watch. A massive beam of power slams down from the heavens, obliterating the spot where the monster stood. In the aftermath, the beastman lies defeated in a crater as the Sage Master looks down on him. All his talk of mercy is gone, now he is the one begging the heavens for it. Oh, the irony. She tells him it is way too late for prayers, then turns to Cao Yuan, exhausted but victorious. After all that, the Sage Master is furious that Cao Yuan used the escape to sneak a hug, and he is not even sorry. She is still seriously weakened, but realizes that Beastman surviving her ultimate attack is a massive deal. Meanwhile, the dark-haired sorcerer explains that demons are blessed by heaven, which is a title, not a god. Down below, Zhou Yu is frantically telling his master to get out of there, completely unaware of what is coming. Suddenly, the sky darkens as a massive purple vortex rips open right above their heads, and a giant, creepy eye stares down from the center, because the day just keeps getting better. This thing is just radiating some seriously bad vibes, glowing with an ominous pink light. This sorcerer immediately recognizes this as a memory-wiping spell and shuts her eyes to avoid it. But Cao Yuan and the Sage Master are caught right in the blast, looking totally dazed and confused. Our boy feels a strange emptiness, like a crucial memory was just ripped right out of his mind. Even Zhou Yu is on the ground, completely disoriented and wondering what the heck just happened. His system thankfully alerts him to a forced memory wipe and immediately starts the repair process. Phew. Just then, the Sage Master collapses against him, totally unconscious from the mental and physical strain. He realizes that Forbidden Mantra completely drained her power and eroded her mind in the process. While he tries to heal her, the dark-haired sorcerer just flies off, leaving them to clean up the mess. Zhou Yu, ever the hero, immediately starts screaming at Cao Yuan, accusing him of hurting his master. Cao Yuan snaps back, reminding him she got injured fighting the monster and telling him to back off. Not listening to a single word, Zhou Yu just launches himself forward, still demanding answers. Our boy casually blocks the attack while still holding the Sage Master, telling him to shut his mouth. And right in the middle of their little squabble, the Sage Master starts to wake up, looking totally bewildered. Waking up in his arms, the Sage Master is immediately flustered and has no idea what is going on. And of course, Zhou Yu comes flying in with a rage-fueled headbutt, screaming at Cao Yuan. His head connects hard, and now the Sage Master is yelling at our boy, calling him a pervert. She's got him pinned and is ready to throw down, completely misreading the entire situation. Our boy is totally bewildered, asking if she seriously does not recognize him at all. But her memory is completely gone. She coldly tells him they have never even met before. Seeing his chance, Zhou Yu immediately starts spinning a story about Cao Yuan being a monster leader. Cao Yuan finally gets it, that giant eye in the sky completely wiped her memories of him. With zero hesitation, Zhou Yu orders his master to just kill Cao Yuan on the spot. Our guy cannot believe what he is hearing, trying to talk some sense into them. But Zhou Yu does not wait for an answer, lunging forward with a lightning-fast sword strike. This blade goes clean through his chest, leaving him completely stunned and bleeding out. As he falls, his system thankfully kicks in, starting an emergency damage restoration protocol. He sits up, gasping for air and realizing he somehow survived a fatal blow. Zhou Yu just glares down, furious that his little assassination attempt actually failed. Meanwhile, the Sage Master just watches with this cold, empty expression, completely detached. And then she declares she's using that same forbidden mantra on him, the one that nearly killed her. Panicked, Cao Yuan yells for her to stop, warning her that another blast will destroy her body. But she falters, suddenly realizing her spiritual power is completely drained and she has no idea why. So naturally, with no power and total confusion, she just slaps him right across the face. With her memory totally gone, the Sage Master orders Zhou Yu to haul Cao Yuan back to the capital. She is dead serious about the command, officially declaring our boy a prisoner to be transported. Next thing you know, we are in some grimy, torchlit dungeon grate. Yep, definitely a prison, complete with those charming iron bars and zero hospitality. Our boy wakes up on a stone slab, slowly realizing he's been tossed in the royal capital's den. Sitting up, he tries to process the whole monster race propaganda he has been fed. But the most troubling part is the demon race, a wild card that throws everyone's calculations into chaos. Stuck in this miserable cell, he is already plotting his escape, refusing to just wait around. He grits his teeth, absolutely certain this sorry excuse for a prison is not going to hold him for long. With a grunt, he slams his fist into the wall, and it does absolutely nothing. He calls on his system for a jailbreak cheat sheet, but it is basically like, "Sorry, I am busy, call back later." Our boy starts losing it, yelling that he does not even know how long he has been rotting in here. And a calm voice from the shadows drops a bombshell. He has been in there for half a year. This long-haired visitor steps into the light and calls him Zhou Yu, which is definitely not his name. His mind just short-circuits. He grabs the bars, completely unable to believe half a year is just gone. This guy explains this prison is called Without Gaps, a place designed to make you lose all sense of time. He is shaking the bars now, demanding to know what he possibly could have done to deserve this. His jailer calmly explains it was the Sage Master's decision, since he is still technically the leader of the monster race. Cao Yuan is absolutely livid, screaming that they were literally just fighting the monsters, so who cares about his title? Then the guy drops another bomb. Apparently the new leader of the monster race is also looking for him. Cao Yuan's mind is just blown. The new monster leader is after him too. Elsewhere, his jailer visits a woman in another cell, telling her it is time to go since she helped Phoenix. Back in his own cell, a horrible thought dawns on Cao Yuan as he starts to guess who this new leader is. We cut to a city gate where a mysterious figure makes a dramatic entrance under a blood-red sigil. A group of cloaked men are waiting, their white-haired leader not at all surprised by the visitor's arrival. And surprised, the new monster race leader is a cat girl, who announces her presence with total confidence. She declares with fiery eyes that she is here to reclaim what rightfully belongs to her people. This cloaked leader just scoffs, finding it hilarious she'd risk all this for a simple grass spirit. Our new monster queen gets all flustered, trying to act tough while calling him her a servant. He's not buying it, calling her out for showing up alone after sneaking in with the human king last time. She is left standing alone in the snow, looking completely unimpressed by a bird flying overhead. Turns out her entire army bilayed on her, running like rabbits at the mere mention of the capital, great leadership. This cloaked guy just roasts her, calling her the most pathetic leader he has ever seen. Just then, a massive ice dragon erupts from the ground, coiling around the entire group. It roars down at the cat girl, telling the human invaders not to underestimate the monster race. She is completely stunned, having no idea where this giant ice lizard even came from. Her opponent calmly identifies the attack as powerful ice magic from the northern regions. This dragon, crackling with energy, demands they hand over whoever they are hiding immediately. Without waiting for an answer, it unleashes a massive blast of freezing energy, and the cloaked figures are instantly frozen solid, caught completely off guard by the icy assault. With the cloaked guys frozen solid, a new white-haired woman steps in, wielding some serious wind magic. She is completely baffled, wondering why a legendary dragon from the north is meddling in their business. But the dragon is not interested in a chat, already charging up a massive energy blast in its mouth. In response, she throws up a massive whirlwind, creating a powerful defensive vortex around herself. These two attacks collide in a huge explosion of elemental power as she struggles to hold her ground. She tries to reason with it, asking why a neutral party from the Arctic is getting its hands dirty. Then she throws some serious shade at the cat girl, wondering how a lowly wolf dog could command a dragon. Our monster queen is absolutely furious at being called both a dog and a girl. The disrespect is real. This dragon explains it is not about pride. It is a vassal of the human race and has no choice in the matter. Just then, massive beams of light slam down from the sky, interrupting the whole standoff. And out of nowhere, the four legendary beasts appear: phoenix, tiger, dragon, and tortoise, surrounding her. This cat girl is completely stunned, recognizing the legendary white tiger and black tortoise on sight. All four of the divine beasts are now staring the woman down, and they do not look friendly at all. This new magic user is totally bewildered, having absolutely no clue what is even happening anymore. These beasts all start glowing, their power converging on her as the trap finally springs shut. She is caught in some kind of elemental prison, bound by four glowing portals and crackling energy. With lightning arcing between her hands, she struggles against the immense power of the seal. This cloaked leader taunts her, asking if the four symbols seal is a good fit for her status, calling her Jiang Yue. Jiang Yue is completely floored that this guy knows her name and demands to know who he is. He just smirks back, smugly telling her he is under no obligation to answer. What a jerk. This catgirl leader recognizes this new guy's style, asking if he is the infamous Lang Yan. He just smirks back, asking if she recognizes the body he is currently borrowing. And he adds that this particular vessel is a very good fit for him. Our monster queen is completely stunned, trying to process what this even means. Suddenly, she is getting flash frozen just from his gaze, feeling a bone-deep chill. Jiang Yue immediately identifies his power as a forbidden art from the Beast Tamer clan. In an instant, Lang Yan appears right in front of her, closing the distance completely. He gets all up in her personal space, impressed that his clan's reputation precedes him. Then he grabs her by the throat, demanding to know where his son's head is. Yikes. Leaning in with a seriously creepy expression, he says if she will not talk, he has got other ways of getting the information he wants. A flash in her eye confirms it. He is diving right into her mind. Her recent memories are forcibly replayed, flashing through the battle with the divine beasts. This mental intrusion is agonizing, causing her to break down in tears. She collapses to the ground as he confirms she genuinely does not know anything. Now he is pissed, demanding to know where the grass spirit who killed his son is hiding. Jiang Yue just keeps insisting she has no idea what he is talking about. He tells her to give it up, gloating that his plan is perfect and she has got no way out. But she fires back that Zhou Yu will be back soon to deal with him. Still got the wrong guy, huh? And we see a vision of the person she is waiting for, the dark-haired sorcerer holding someone close. A vision of the sage master appears, sadly noting that for her, every meeting is like the first. But Jiang Yue refuses to give up, insisting that Zhou Yu can escape even the strongest of his kind. Lang Yan just smirks, telling her to stop struggling because his plan is absolutely flawless. Reaching out, he declares that there is no one left who can possibly save her now. And with a truly disturbing grin, he says he is about to get real friendly with her brain. But out of nowhere, the catgirl leader comes flying in with a surprise kick to the face. She lands a solid hit, sending the creep stumbling back as Jiang Yue watches in total shock. Now on the ground, Jiang Yue asks why she was saved, but the catgirl says it was not for her. Her real reason is she could not let Cao Yuan fall into this monster's hands. Lang Yan finally puts it all together, so she is the grass spirit who killed his son. He lunges forward, sneering that she cannot save anyone and her entire race is just an ant to him. In a flash, he has got her by the throat and she is completely overpowered. Suddenly, a brilliant blade of golden energy slices through the air. It cuts clean through his arm, forcing him to release her as he reels back in disbelief. And there he is, Cao Yuan, fresh out of jail and asking if they were talking about him. Lang Yan just stares at his severed hand, totally unable to process what just happened. Jiang Yue is equally stunned, wondering how in the world he managed to escape the dungeon. Our boy just gives a charming little wink, announcing that the cat girl is his wife, so of course he'd show up. He then asks for confirmation, but she is just flustered and tells him to stop being so weird, total tsundere move. Lang Yan is absolutely livid, screaming about this disrespectful brat and launching himself forward for an attack. Cao Yuan powers up an energy blast, yelling that he's got more than just long-range tricks. He rockets forward, clashing with Lang Yan in a blinding explosion of raw power. Their attacks collide in a massive, crackling sphere of energy, a real light show. Lang Yan is completely floored, wondering why his beast-taming arts are failing against a grass spirit. With a roar, Cao Yuan calls him pathetic and just overpowers his defense completely. Then he lands a devastating punch straight through Lang Yan's chest. That has gotta hurt. This sheer force of the blow sends the villain flying back, utterly wrecked by the assault. Lang Yan's face is a mask of pure agony, unable to believe he just got bodied so hard. Clutching his wound, he finally realizes he has been totally outclassed and is in serious trouble. So like any self-respecting villain, he immediately turns tail and runs for his life. Great plan. Our boy is left with a perfect chibai wait what? Face, completely baffled by the sudden retreat, but it was a feint. Lang Yan's new target is Jiang Yue and he is already reaching for her. This catgirl leader instantly realizes his true objective was not to escape but to switch targets. From afar, Lang Yan smirks, monologuing that he just needs a stronger body to turn this fight around. Jiang Yue desperately screams at Cao Yuan, trying to warn him about the real danger. Her warning, however, comes just a split second too late to make a difference, because Lang Yan already has his hand on her head, initiating some kind of possession technique. He unleashes a massive sealing spell, the four symbols purgatory, engulfing her in a sphere of light. In the aftermath, Cao Yuan and the catgirl are left in a desolate cave, Jiang Yue nowhere in sight. This monster queen turns to him, asking what they are supposed to do now that the sage has been taken. This monster queen turns to Cao Yuan, asking if he has anything at all to say to her after all that. Our boy is just completely lost, scratching his head and asking what on earth she is talking about. Getting all huffy, she just turns away and says she knows where the bad guys went, so let us go. Then she suddenly grabs him in a headlock, reminding him how much effort she put into his rescue. He is absolutely panicking, yelling at her to let go and talk things out like a normal person. After they calm down, Cao Yuan explains their memories were wiped and a third party was involved. She actually pauses to think, admitting it does feel like she has forgotten a whole lot of stuff. But with a sly little smile, she says that since it is him telling her, she will choose to believe it. And just like that, our hero is a blushing, flustered mess, so much for his cool entrance. Meanwhile, Jiang Yue wakes up in a dark cave, bound by some kind of energy restraints. A new cat-eared guy with blonde hair greets her with a smug look, happy to see she is awake. She immediately demands to know where she is and what his grand plan is. He just gives this super creepy grin, telling her it does not matter since her body is about to be his. Jiang Yue is horrified, realizing he is planning on straight-up stealing her body, not a great Tuesday. This new villain starts charging up energy, admitting that body snatching is risky but totally worth the reward. With a defiant glare, she tells him to dream on, vowing she will not let him succeed. He grabs her by the head, taunting her that acting tough is all she can do right now. This guy mutters about villains talking too much, right before a sudden noise interrupts his evil monologue. In a flash, a massive blast sends him flying as someone announces the beast race leader is here to save the day. This entire cave entrance explodes in a cloud of dust, with Cao Yuan standing ready for round 2. This cat-eared villain is sent flying, completely blindsided by Cao Yuan's explosive arrival. Peeking from behind some rubble, he demands to know how they even found his secret hideout. Cao Yuan just smirks, holding up a crystal shard and saying it was actually pretty easy. Jiang Yue, still tied up, desperately tries to get his attention, yelling at him to listen to her. That little shard zips through the air, heading straight for her energy bindings. With a quick move, he catches it again, having sliced right through her restraints. Now that she is free, he cracks his knuckles, announcing it is time to decide the winner. This villain is absolutely livid, recognizing Cao Yuan and summoning 4 different elemental orbs. He unleashes them, asking if our boy seriously thinks he can take on 4 opponents at once. In response, Cao Yuan kneels down, pouring his energy into some kind of summoning item. And just like that, a red-haired elf and an old man materialize, glowing with power. They are joined by a blue-haired woman and a massive white tiger beastman. He has got backup. Our villain just grins, totally unfazed and eager to see what this new crew can do. Cao Yuan powers up, noting he has fought these types before and knows how to counter them. This white tiger beastman leads the charge, lunging forward with a lightning-fast claw attack. He lands a direct hit, grabbing the villain by the throat and hoisting him off the ground. With blood trickling from his mouth, the guy is in total disbelief at being so easily overpowered. Even Cao Yuan and Jiang Yue are stunned, not expecting the fight to be this one-sided. Then the old man and the blue-haired woman combine their powers, unleashing a massive frost attack. And just like that, the villain is flash-frozen solid in a giant prison of jagged ice. This red-haired elf smugly explains this was all a trap, and their real goal was to wipe him out. With a confident smirk, she declares that the rest is now up to the little guys to handle.